CFAX Victoria,
an iHeart radio station. If it's happening,
it's here.
CFAX 1070.
Good morning. It's 6 a.m. Wednesday, July the 15th. Steve Young in for Ryan again today. Sunny and 25 degrees is your forecast. Time for CFAX 1070 News. Here's Lisa Best.
Thanks, Stephen. Good morning. Vic PD looking for witnesses, video images, dash cam footage following a report of a hit and run. Officers were called to the 1000 block of Caledonia on Monday afternoon around the noon hour, 12:20. Police say a cyclist traveling west on Caledonia was hit by a dark-colored SUV. Police say it was a male in the SUV, male driver, but did not remain at the scene. The cyclist transported to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Anyone who has any information can contact Vic PD. On the West Shore, RCMP kept hopping earlier this week, dealing with a spate of bad behavior across Langford. Around 7:20 Monday night, reports came in of people trying to sell fake jewelry for cash in the Canadian Tire parking lot. We've heard this story before, unfortunately. Officers did search the area but didn't come up with anyone. About 30 minutes later, a hiker spotted a man wearing nothing but a baseball cap and a backpack on a trail near Stewart Mountain Road. Yeah, you got to wear pants. He didn't didn't approach the witness and had gone before officers arrived again. Now, later around 8:20, officers called to reports of shots fired at a parked transport trailer near the 2900 block of Souk Road. Within 15 minutes, police did make 2 arrests, 2 men, 34 and 44. Investigators then determined the weapon involved was an imitation gun. They weren't done there. At 10:22, a 27-year-old man arrested for allegedly assaulting someone who tried to stop him from entering an apartment building in the 3100 block of Jacqueline Avenue. He didn't have keys with him. After 11, RCMP say a 38-year-old woman who was arrested for allegedly damaging signs near the 700 block of Hockley Avenue while appearing to be under the influence of drugs. She was later released. Police say the night's other calls included traffic complaints, mischief, suspicious people calls, well-being checks, and other routine requests for service. So our West Shore CMP definitely earning their pay. The CRA says a Canada-wide arrest warrant has been issued for Wen Tao Yang, a Vancouver resident, following his repeated failure to appear in court. Yang's been charged with multiple offenses that include tax evasion and fraud as of last November, both as an individual and in his capacity of director of the Calais Energy Corp. Gas prices have begun to climb again across Canada. Analysts believe it could be days or even weeks of sustained increases. For the moment, local regular gas is hovering around the $1.89.9 a litre mark. Diesel anywhere from $2.10 to $2.37. The latest analysis from the president of Canadians for Affordable Energy, Dan Tagg.
The world is quickly running out of oil, available oil to meet demand. So it's pretty clear to me that you can only ignore economic fundamentals for so long. And the complacency by Wall Street may be one thing, but the reality is about to hit everybody pretty darn hard.
It remains unclear how high gas prices could climb this time around as the fighting between the U.S. and Iran continues. America beginning to see the light that BC has. A big development in the debate over changing the clocks twice a year. U.S. lawmakers passing a bill to keep daylight saving time year-round.
Congress made daylight saving time permanent during the 1970s energy crisis, but reversed course after parents revolted over children walking to school in pitch-dark winter mornings. In Florida alone, 8 kids were killed in traffic accidents. Permanent daylight saving time would mean the sun wouldn't rise until 8:52 a.m. in Seattle in mid-January and 9:04 a.m. in Indianapolis. But this new bill would allow states to opt out and make their own decisions.
Well, you know what happens next. The federal government is creating a research facility to advance Canada's military capabilities with drones. Defense Minister Dave McGuinty announced in Quebec yesterday that a group of 30 organizations led by Aero Montreal will receive nearly $30 million over 2 years to establish and operate the new Defense Innovation Centre dedicated to unmanned systems.
The world is changing at breathtaking pace, and Canada must keep up. On the ground, drones watch over vast areas, detect movement, protect deployed forces, and strike with unprecedented speed. In the hands of our adversaries, those same technologies threaten our personnel, our infrastructure, and our operations.
Quebec's economy minister says the war in Ukraine has highlighted the vital role that drones play in defense. And that's your news to 6:05. Your CFAX 1070 news poll question this morning, we're asking if you basically are borrowing money to pay for groceries. Question stands, have you ever used the Buy Now, Pay Later short-term financing service to cover essentials like groceries? 2% say yes. You can vote at CFAX1070.com, also on the iHeartRadio app. I'm Lisa Best, your news time, 6:06.
Thank you, Lisa. Your weather forecast for Greater Victoria. Sunny today, becoming a mix of sun and cloud this afternoon. Winds light, except west 30 near the Juan de Fuca Strait, a high near 25. It's going to feel like 28 with a humidex and be a little cooler where the winds blow on shore. Partly cloudy tonight, becoming cloudy before morning with a 40% chance of showers. There's a risk of a thunderstorm tonight. Think about that. I haven't seen a good thunderstorm in a long time.
Sure that's not a typo?
No, it says right here,
okay.
The risk of thunderstorm before morning.
I love when you spell it out.
Well,
yeah, you're right.
Environment Canada
it's
provides.
Well, they do. And it's so nice when we actually do get something of that because everyone rushes to the store and goes, there's that sound, because we never hear it here.
I know. There are certain, I have learned so much about lightning since I moved west. Because there's lightning shields, like in certain places.
Well, the thing about Vancouver Island is the weather systems move so quickly through it, it doesn't have time to settle and actually grow up and become something like thunder and lightning. Well, lightning with thunder. So the mainland gets it all.
But when I lived in Jasper, there were no thunderstorms either because the mountains acted as a barrier.
Yes. So, and the prairies? Mega.
I actually watched one last night. One of the storms,
on TV?
One of the storm chasers on YouTube was up in Alberta near Thorsby.
Yeah. Okay.
And it was the hail. The hail was like that was a good size hail.
Yeah.
I'm surprised dude's windshield is still intact because
kudos to the windshield. Yeah, Alberta gets some wicked storms anywhere from there to Ontario.
Yeah.
Well, actually, Quebec gets them too. So who am I kidding?
Yeah, and Ontario's got the smoke from the big fire in northern Ontario. There's a bunch around Thunder Bay, and there's one around Timmins as well. So
they're adding up, eh?
Yeah, the environment is rebelling. Mainly cloudy, 40% chance of showers tonight. Risk of a thunderstorm, as I mentioned. Actually, that's the same story for tomorrow. Mainly cloudy, 40% chance of showers. Risk of thunderstorm tomorrow morning as well, with a high near 20. And a mix of sun and cloud for Friday and a high near 20. Right now in downtown Victoria, it's 13 degrees. Checking sports. First of all, your World Cup report.
This is your TSN Radio FIFA World Cup 2026 update.
I'm John Rodenberg. Spain will play for the World Cup title after upending favored France 2-0 in the first semifinal. Spain scored first when Mikel Oyarzabal scored on a penalty kick in the 22nd minute, and then in the 58th minute,
Porro, Olmo, Pedro Porro! It's happening for Spain!
Pedro Porro scored a give-and-go goal to give Spain the lead they would not relinquish. French star Kylian Mbappe was held without a shot on goal as Spain had its 6th clean sheet in 7 matches. Today, England and Argentina will decide the other finalists at 3 p.m. Eastern. Argentina seeking a second straight trip to the final, while England tries to keep its dream alive of its first title in 60 years. You can watch the FIFA World Cup matches on TSN, CTV, Crave, and streaming at tsn.ca. Listen on the TSN radio network with all games streaming on the iHeartRadio app.
And in other sports news, the American League blanked the National League 4-0 in the All-Star Game in Philadelphia. West Coast League All-Star Game goes tonight at 6:35 at Royal Athletic Park. Team Harbor Cats, that included former Blue Jay Kevin Pillar, won last night's Home Run Derby competition. CFAX Mornings are brought to you by Thrifty Foods. Fresh Okanagan cherries are now in season at Thrifty Foods. Big, juicy, and packed with sweet summer flavor. Pick up some today. On the highways and byways around Greater Victoria this morning, I see no delays or encumberments. I know a certain person who does news had to wait by the Johnson Street Bridge as it went up this morning, and about 10 loads.
It wouldn't be bad if I was trying to, get to work, but it's really pretty when it's up that bridge. I mean, it's really pretty when it's down too. And the amount of gravel that was going through on that barge is testament to the amount of construction going on in this area. Wow. I think we're all sitting there counting. As a child, well, if you grew up somewhere else, you count the rail cars going by as the car stopped. It was kind of like that. That's another big barge of gravel.
I saw a comment on Reddit, Victoria Reddit, last night. I don't want to see another traffic cone ever.
It is kind of a trigger point now for drivers, right?
It kind of is. And I laughed out loud because I think we can all identify with that.
We identify as a
I don't
traffic cone.
By the way,
yes.
The other thing I noticed coming in,
yes,
there's this giant piece of it looks like asphalt.
Okay.
On Island Highway.
Well, that's kind of good to point out.
Yeah. As you're going through the View Royal area, just by the City Hall area, just before you get to the nice pub. It's kind of in the center right now, but if somebody hits it, it's going to do damage to your car. So just letting you know, it is out there, and I did swerve just a little bit over to miss it.
Did it come up from the road or did it come off a vehicle?
It looks like it's come up from the road.
Oh, ooh, okay.
Because it looked like a chunk of asphalt.
All right. It's good to know. Where? Okay, again, where?
Just before you get to the pub as you're headed southbound. On Island Highway.
On Island Highway, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're getting into more detail in the traffic than you usually get, but...
Nothing wrong with that.
I would also add that the next departure out of Swartz Bay is the 7 o'clock, and it has 46% available deck space. Here's your consumer and business news for today.
Federal Reserve Chairman Kevin Warsh is vowing to get monetary policy right and bring down inflation. He made the pledge in remarks to Congress, saying the economy is in solid shape otherwise. And Americans did get a break from inflation in June as consumer prices posted their biggest monthly decline in 6 years. The drop was driven largely by lower energy costs following the U.S.-Iran ceasefire. The Consumer Price Index, which measures the cost of everyday goods and services, fell 0.4% last month. That's better than economists business had expected. And when you're out and about shopping, if you are a loyal customer, beware. That loyalty program may save you some money, but it could be costly when it comes to online security.
Over 3/4 of Americans belong to at least one store loyalty program. You trade a phone number or an email address for discounts, rewards, or special offers at a grocery store, a coffee shop, maybe a gas station. And that savings may come with a hidden cost, your personal information. When you hand over that information, data brokers build a profile on you, and they sell that information, and not just other companies. Scammers can also buy it and use the data to develop phishing emails. One tip, use a separate email just for rewards accounts, maybe a separate phone number too. That way, if your information is leaked, your primary contact information may still be protected. I'm Daria Albinger.
And as college kids prepare for a new school year, Washington State has ranked near the bottom of states where students complete the free application for federal student aid form. The governor, Bob Ferguson, wants lawmakers to change that. He wants the FAFSA to be a requirement for all high school graduates.
Washington State is literally the most generous state in the entire country for providing financial assistance. And by that, I mean free money for young people to go to college or to get job training.
He adds the FAFSA requirement would increase the number of students who can get state or federal aid. The FAFSA form is now available for all students and contributors. I'm Monica Nelson with your consumer and business news.
In the kitchen, in the car, and at the office. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070. Take us with you. Listen live on the free iHeartRadio app.
6:16, here's Lisa with your news headlines.
Checking the Wilderness BC wildfire update. We have 20 active fires burning province-wide. 2 new starts in the last 24 hours. No new fires are here on Vancouver Island, but 2 fires are considered out of control. On that note, the Wildfire Service says a RAP attack crew has been added to the firefighting efforts at the Brunswick complex of fires outside Boston Bar. The service employs about 40 firefighters in that program who are trained to rappel from a helicopter into areas that are otherwise hard or impossible to access. The update from the service says the crew at the Brunswick complex will be putting helicopter pads into areas previously not accessible to ground crews. This comes after wildfire officials warned that the dry conditions combined with forecasted lightning strikes with little or no rain could result in a big jump swing in wildfire activity this week. Remember, you can text star 5555 if you see any suspicious smoke in the wilderness. BMW adding a new warning to a recent recall. And yes, where there's smoke, there's fire. This week, the German automaker announced it was recalling nearly 30,000 luxury plug-in cars due to the risk of fire linked to the engine starter. Now the company is advising owners of affected models to park it outside until the vehicles can be inspected and repaired. The affected models are all listed on the company's website for you. An Simon Fraser University's survey of 1,000 BCers finds we are growing increasingly wary of artificial intelligence and the companies behind the technology. 54% of us have heard or read a lot about AI. That's up from 17% less than 2 years ago. More than 60% asked now say that they used AI in some form, up 9%. 65% believe the potential risks outweigh the potential benefits, compared to 56% who felt the same way in 2024. And a whopping 86% of BCers say they're worried that AI will make people feel more disconnected in society. We're going to hear from Fergus Lindley-Mata. He's the director of the Dialogue on Technology program. He's going to be coming up on the CFAX Morning Show in the 8 o'clock hour to talk more about this poll that he headed at SFU about us being distrustful with AI and the technology linked to it. That is your news to 6:18.
6:20 here at CFAX 1070. No delays on the highways or byways at this time. Lighter than usual volume. And if you see something out there, you can text us 71010.
Ryan and Lisa. Mornings on CFAX 1070. Remember, you have us in the palm of your hand. For listeners on the go, listen live on the free iHeartRadio app.
You know, I've been wearing jerseys all week.
We kind of noticed.
Yeah. And I'm getting some good feedback from the listeners, so I will try to continue.
Yes.
And go through like 10 jerseys through the 2-week period. Ryan is gone for 2 weeks. I will be here. Mm-hmm. And yeah, we'll do the jersey thing. Today, I specifically bought this jersey to wear on this specific day.
I really like that jersey. You don't normally see those colors together. At least I don't.
No.
In the jersey.
No.
It's usually red or something bright or white. 6 extremes. But it's actually quite nice. It's kind of a campy color.
You know what it really is?
What?
It's a Timbit color.
Well, that's why it looks kind of wilderness-like.
Yes.
It's the color of a Timbit. There's blue.
This is my Timbit jersey.
Sprinkles.
It says Soccer Club Tim Hortons.
Yeah.
Then it's got the little Timbits logo on the side. It says 64 on the back. Why do you think it says 64 on the back?
I don't know.
That's when the first Tim Horton donut shop in Hamilton, Ontario on Ottawa Street opened.
It's 1964?
Correct.
I didn't realize they were around that long. Okay.
And that was the original one.
Neat.
Tim Horton. So it's Camp Day. So all the proceeds from your iced coffee or your regular coffee go to Tim Hortons camps around Canada.
Yeah. And stays locally, too, depending on what the community, right, where you're buying?
Yeah. The Esquimalt store will be hosting a fundraising event with several activities. We'll have more about that,
all right,
including a Guess the Timbits contest. But I thought it was important to visit the history of Tim Horton, because I think that's been lost.
Because, yeah, who was the man, right?
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And Leaf fans should love this because he was a 4-time Stanley Cup champion with the Leafs when they used to be successful. 1962, 1963, 1964, and the last one in 1967.
Wow.
So that was the last team that won.
Waiting a long time.
He was named one of the 100 greatest players in NHL history.
I didn't know that. That's okay.
And he died at age 44 after a single vehicle crash on the QEW near St. Catharines.
Yeah, I get him mixed up with Bill Barilko, thanks to the Tragically Hip.
Well, that's what's interesting. They were both from Northern Ontario.
No. Well, Northern Ontario grew some pretty good hockey players, right?
Exactly. Yeah. But especially back in that day. So, yes, born in Cochrane.
Okay.
And spent most of his time in Sudbury growing up. So a good Northern Ontario boy, and was known for how tough he was, but how he could turn up the offense in the playoffs. And that's why he was so successful as a Maple Leaf. And then they sort of tore the team apart. In 1970, they traded him to the Rangers. He got picked up in the expansion draft, ended up with Pittsburgh for a little while, and then joined Buffalo because Punch Imlach, who's legendary.
Oh, yeah. There's a name I haven't heard for a long time.
Was legendary in the history of that era of Maple Leafdom, wanted him back and actually bought him a car, the Pantera, that went off the road.
What?
Yes. So part of the deal to get Tim to stay in Buffalo and play for the Sabres was that he got this car.
Vehicle, yeah, it was kind of the Elvis effect, right?
Exactly. So he and Mr. Joyce actually sat down because Tim had experience with restaurants. He had a hamburger joint in Toronto.
Before his name went on this, okay.
And he had a Studebaker dealership as well.
Oh, so he was dabbling pretty heavily in business.
Exactly. So he and Ron Joyce, who was a police officer at the time, got to talking, and they decided they'd do this donut shop. And
this is 1963-ish?
63 into 64,
okay.
yeah. And he had his own donut recipes that he brought to the table.
Were they his grandmother's or something?
Yeah.
Probably.
It doesn't, I haven't gotten that far down.
You got to think it was a family recipe that was sharing. Okay.
And that's why there's always been this relationship between police officers and Tim Hortons, because Mr. Joyce was a police officer.
Is that where the donut joke comes from? Is that where the donut joke comes from?
That's the basis of it, right?
It's Canadian?
Yes.
Okay.
And the store in Hamilton started it out, and what started with one store in Hamilton blew into what is now the Empire.
Which is, similar to the way McDonald's worked, too.
Yeah.
Or any, chain. Wow. Okay.
Isn't this interesting stuff?
Is it still open?
The
original one?
I think it is. I think it's been remodeled a few times.
Yeah, but you think they wouldn't close it based on its history?
Well, you know where it is located in Hamilton?
Nope.
Not far from Iverwin Stadium.
Oh.
And you know what Iverwin Stadium, when they redid it, turned into? Tim Hortons Field.
Oh, that's fitting. This is really great history.
See?
Yeah.
You put the sports guy and you give him a mic, sometimes he comes up with some stuff.
You got gold this morning. Well, the fact that it's camp day, too, and the reason behind this is, the supporting of the kids. But, I mean, the history behind it, too, is he was a real true maverick Canadian entrepreneur.
Absolutely. And
dabbled in everything until he hit on something. It's too bad about him and the Pantera.
Yes, and there was complications to that, some unfortunate lessons about drinking and driving can be ascertained from his demise.
Yeah, unfortunately, it was a different world back then, and we didn't have the stats that we were relying on so heavily now about how bad it was, how deadly it was to drink and drive. So, yeah, okay.
So there you have it.
Unpacking Tim Horton on camp day.
So just keep that in mind. It really is a Canadian success story, even though things have happened since. It really, like I said, Northern Ontario boy that was interested in more than hockey, did more than hockey, and became a Canadian institution as a result. But at the root of it, he was one of the best Toronto Maple Leafs ever.
Wow.
Take a break. News coming up, bottom of the hour.
From CFAX 1070.
Here's what's happening around the island.
Victoria Symphony presents Symphony in the Summer Festival, July 10th through August 9th. Details at victoriasymphony.ca. Catch all the excitement of summer baseball with the Victoria Harbour Cats. More info at harbourcats.com. Have an event you want featured on CFAX 1070? Text us at 71010 to be featured.
Get more event info at CFAX1070.com.
If it's happening, it's here.
CFAX 1070.
CFAX Victoria.
An iHeartRadio station. If it's happening,
it's here.
CFAX 1070.
6:30 on Wednesday, July 15th. Good morning, Vancouver Island. Sunny and 25 degrees in your forecast today. Real nice day. Of course, there is that chance of thunderstorms tonight, but we'll get into that again as the show progresses. Time for CFAX 1070 News. Here's Lisa Best.
Thanks, Stephen. Good morning. The Bank of Canada is set to deliver its fifth interest rate decision of the year this morning.
Economists widely expect the central bank will remain on hold at 2.25%, despite higher energy prices lifting inflation. Officials at the Bank of Canada have made it clear they're willing to look beyond the initial price shock from the Iran war, but are prepared to act if there are signs inflation is spreading beyond the gas pumps. The bank will also publish new forecasts this morning showing how the war and other forces shaping the economy are affecting its outlook for growth and inflation. Michelle Zedekian, The Canadian Press.
The federal government has topped the class in a new report card tracking progress on internal trade, as marked by the Canadian Federation of Independent Business. Ottawa went from a C to an A+ in this year's report card of its legislative changes in leadership and getting the provinces and territories to the table to knock down long-standing trade barriers. The CFIB's Kelly Lupke says despite those wins, most small businesses claim that hasn't translated into more sales, at least not yet.
Governments across the country really have made more progress on internal trade in the last 2 years than we've seen in over a decade. And so some real improvement in the grades, but for most small businesses, really the realities in their day-to-day haven't changed.
Lepke says there's more work to be done as most provinces have not yet lived up to their word to remove restrictions on direct-to-consumer sales of alcohol across the country. The federal government is creating a research facility to advance Canada's military capabilities with the use of drones. Defence Minister Dave McGuinty announced in Quebec that a group of 30 organizations led by Aero Montreal will receive nearly $30 million over 2 years to establish and operate the new Defence Innovation Centre dedicated to unmanned systems. McGuinty says the hub will be sponsored by the Canada Joint Forces Command.
The Canadian Armed Forces must be ready to operate in this new reality. That is why this hub matters so much. It will help Canada develop its own uncrewed systems, integrate them better, and defend against them better.
McGuinty says drones are changing the way modern militaries operate, and Canada must adapt to the new world. The National Chief of the Assembly of First Nations has a planned meeting this fall between First Ministers and Chiefs across this country. Did not come easy and must not be the only one of its kind. Cindy Woodhouse-Nepanak has first described First Nations' previous exclusion from ministers' meetings as very disrespectful.
It was a hard, long road, and I want to uplift the many national chiefs before me, the many staff that worked before me, the many folks that pushed and pushed to get a First Minister's meeting. That's just having one piece of it, but I think the old global piece of it is we need to be at the table fully.
Calls for a meeting with First Ministers got louder last year when the federal and provincial governments were discussing among themselves ways to fast-track major infrastructure projects. Those discussions, of course, continue. A big development in the debate stateside over changing the clocks twice a year. U.S. House lawmakers passing a bill to keep daylight saving time all year round.
The days of springing forward and falling back may be numbered. The House has voted to make daylight saving time permanent. The bill would end the twice-a-year clock change requirement and give way to the later sunsets we see from March to November. The bill has been a priority for President Trump.
And the BC government has decided to make a difference with Surrey City Hall, sustaining significant damage after a suspicious fire outside the building in the early hours of Monday morning. The firefighters told police the blaze had likely started in a portable toilet set up against the side of the building. The heat causing the exterior glass to break, allowing smoke to enter the building, triggering the sprinkler system. The investigation has uncovered video footage of a potential suspect in the fire, but police are asking anyone who may know anything to contact them. That's your news to 6:35. Your CFAX 1070 news poll question: have you used a buy now, pay later short-term financing service to cover your life essentials, like putting food on the table? 2% say yes. You can vote at CFAX1070.com, also on the iHeartRadio app. And Lisa, best your news time is 6:36.
Thank you, Lisa. Your weather forecast for Greater Victoria: sunny today, becoming a mix of sun and cloud this afternoon. Winds light except west 30 near the Juan de Fuca Strait. A high near 25, 19 where the winds blow on shore. The humidex is going to make it feel like 28, and your UV index is at 7 or high. Partly cloudy tonight, becoming cloudy before morning with a 40% chance of showers. There's also the risk of a thunderstorm before morning with a low near 14. Mainly cloudy with a 40% chance of showers tomorrow. Risk of a thunderstorm in the morning and a high near 20. Mix of sun and cloud on Friday with a high near 20. Right now in downtown Victoria, it's 13 degrees. In sports, the American League blanked the National League 4-0 in the All-Star game in Philadelphia. Blue Jays hurler Dylan Cease struck out the side in the first inning. The West Coast League All-Star game goes tonight, 6:35 at Royal Athletic Park. Harbor Cats is host. Team Harbor Cats, that included former Blue Jay Kevin Pillar, who we had on the show yesterday, won last night's Home Run Derby competition. Tickets still available for tonight's game. You can get them on the Harbor Cats website. It's the Battle of the Falklands revisited this afternoon. England takes on Argentina in the semifinals of the World Cup in Atlanta. The winner meets Spain on Sunday for all the marbles. Spain blanked France 2-0 yesterday. They've only surrendered one goal in the entire tournament. Tempo lost to Washington 79-62. The Royals assigned Czech forward Marek Petruka. He had 26 goals last season for his under-20 team. And the season's over for the Junior B Shamrocks. They lost the third and deciding game to Langley 12-9 last night. CFAX Mornings brought to you by Coastal Heat Pumps. For a comfortable home, no matter what the season, and big savings on your heating bill. Talk to Coastal Heat Pumps, designed for comfort, the South Island's Elite Plus Fujitsu Air Stage dealer. Checking your highway setup. Traffic starting to increase now, especially in the Trans-Canada. Just after you get on the highway, Victoria bound in Langford, it gets a little slow. Then once you get to Thetis Lake Regional Park, things speed up. Slow down a little again by Island Highway, and then speed up again a second time. No major delays out there at this time. And here's what happened on the markets yesterday.
Gains in the basic materials sector lifted Canada's main stock index higher yesterday. Toronto's S&P TSX was up 67 points to close at 35,320. In New York, the Dow inched up 9 points and the Nasdaq climbed 233. Asian markets saw gains this morning. In Tokyo, the Nikkei rose 1,000 points. The Hang Seng in Hong Kong was up 340. Our dollar is trading at 71 and 18 cents US. Today, the Bank of Canada is to give its interest rate decision. It's widely expected to hold steady at 2.25%. This comes amid inflation pressures from higher oil prices linked to the war in Iran. WestJet flight attendants will today wrap up their strike vote. Voting began on July the 8th. If approved, a strike or lockout could start as early as August 2nd. And in BC, Canfor says it will close its Northwood pulp mill near Prince George. About 300 jobs will be lost. Municipal and provincial officials say they are looking at ways to support affected workers. From the Canadian Press Business Desk, I'm Aaron Sousa.
Ryan and Lee. Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070. Oversleepers, catch all the highlights on the latest audio podcast at CFAX1070.com and on the free iHeartRadio app.
6:41 here at CFAX 1070. Sports fans, this one just into the sports room. Steve Yzerman has stepped down as general manager of the Red Wings this morning. The team announced the stunning change in the middle of summer, long after much of the offseason business has been completed. He'll run the team on a day-to-day basis until a successor is picked.
Okay. We don't know why, obviously.
They have not been ultra successful since Steve came back.
Okay. Ultra successful means they're not winning enough.
And his captain wanted out, and that's caused some problems too.
Yeah, when your top dogs are wanting to jump ship.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Did you know about this fossil that was for sale yesterday?
No, you're going to tell us about it. Now I'm curious.
A Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Oh, I heard something. Yeah, okay. So it's a large fossil. We're not talking a tiny thing that you,
Yeah, they even named it Gus.
Of course they did. Makes it look smaller.
So Gus is 67 million years old. Happy birthday, Gus.
But he doesn't look a year older than 60.
Anyway, here's what he sold for.
Oh, okay. So what size is this thing? Before you prep us on this, before you tell us the price tag.
I'm really hoping Mark Mayfield has that kind of information because I don't.
Okay.
Opening bids at Sotheby's in New York started at $19 million and soon soared to a record-setting $50.1 million. The previous record for a fossil sold at auction was a Stegosaurus that went for just shy of $45 million back in 2024. Gus was found in South Dakota in 2021 and restored over the course of several years. It's considered one of the most complete T-Rex fossils ever discovered. I'm Mark Mayfield.
Yeah, that's not really in my financial wheelhouse. And plus, I would have nowhere to put it.
That's a lot of money for a fossil.
Agreed. But the kind of people that shop in this realm that you and I don't rub shoulders with, and let's face it, most of us don't, they have these kind of deep pockets where it's, I'm fine. What'd you buy today, honey? A fossil. Oh, that's nice. What's for dinner?
I wonder if they got permission from their spouse before they bought the fossil.
You got to wonder what happens with high-end families like that, right? Like power couples
right.
To the nth degree, where they're such upper echelon. It's like, honey, I just bought $1 million something. It was a little thing I saw. I wanted. It spoke to me. That's nice. And they don't care. Because couples do talk about this stuff. When it comes to major purchases, anything, most couples have this pact. And if you can weigh in if you're part of a couple. You know what I'm talking about. They have this pact that, honey, if we're going to spend over X amount of dollars, say if it's $300 or $500 or $2,000, everybody has a limit, and because they have joint accounts. So if you're going to spend over that, we're going to talk about it first. Whatever you're going to buy.
Yes. The first question that would put on my mind would be, okay, where are you going to put it?
Well, that's what I said. It's not like you're going to hang it on the wall. Maybe you're going to hang it on the wall. But you need a large wall to do that kind of thing.
Yes.
And then you've got to just moving it. You can't call Joe the mover for this.
No.
And then you got to put it back together. And it doesn't come with an IKEA.
Nothing like the Swedish fossil.
We just need the Allen. Give me an Allen key.
If IKEA's listening, we think this is actually a good idea for you to get into this. It's because
get into the fossil business.
And the directions are just going to have pictures, and you're going to sit there and wonder, what? I don't understand.
I just like the fact that someone's got that deep pockets that they can spend that kind of money and not even worry about the next steps of where it's going to go. They probably already have somewhere it's going to go, obviously. Maybe it's going to the man cave. That's a heck of a knick-knack for the man cave, isn't it? Look, check out my fossil. Forget etchings. You can show her your fossil.
Maybe Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment bought it.
Oh.
And is going to put it on have them mounted on the top of the Air Canada Centre for Raptors games.
You've got ideas.
Think big.
Or, yeah, we could suspend it.
There you go.
Big ticket.
6:46.
Heck of a knick-knack.
Here's Lisa with your news headlines.
Forest Minister Ravi Parmar says the province is deploying staff to support affected workers after Canfor announced it plans to permanently close the Northwood pulp mill outside Prince George, the loss of 300 jobs. Parmar says he's also reached out to the workers' union, Unifor Local 603, as well as the City of Prince George and others to offer support. Vancouver-based Canfor says the pulp and paper sector is facing significant challenges. Yes, we understand this here on the island. An additional production capacity has come online globally, has created an oversupply in the market, putting downward pressure on prices. It says those factors, combined with persistent challenges accessing wood fiber, have resulted in a prolonged period of unsustainable financial losses, with no foreseeable improvement coming forward. Investigators with the Transportation Safety Board of Canada are set to arrive at the site of a fatal helicopter crash in a remote coastal inlet. West Coast helicopters say the pilot and crew member from a logging company were killed yesterday when a Hughes 500 helicopter crashed in the Loughborough Inlet. BC Emergency Health Services says the third person was flown out by air ambulance. They're apparently in serious but stable condition. West Coast Helicopter says the pilot had worked for the company for the past 5 years, always had a smile on his face, adding he was well known in the community of Port McNeill here on the island. And if you like to knit or crochet or do make things with your hands, basically, the Spinnacle Yarn Cafe's 4th annual Fiber Arts Market is happening Saturday at the Royal Roads University, John Horgan Camp at 798 Goldstream Avenue. It goes from 11 till 5. 50 yarn, fiber dyers, weavers, spinners, textile artists, potters, beaters will be on hand for the Entwined Market, dealing with all things fiber. This is in Langford. That's your news to 6:48.
Listen, and you're there for heart-wrenching knockouts,
World's biggest stage,
and breathtaking triumph. 2026 FIFA World Cup, the knockout stage. Every match, every moment. Listen on TSN Radio. Join the Globe on the road to the July 19th final. 2026 FIFA World Cup. Stream it all live on TSN Radio. Available on iHeartRadio.
CFAX mornings are brought to you by Thrifty Foods. Fresh Okanagan cherries are now in season at Thrifty Foods. Big, juicy, and packed with sweet summer flavor. Pick up some today. Once again, volume starting to increase on the Trans-Canada Victoria bound, but no major delays to speak of at this point. There's some slowdown and speed up, but it's not measurable at this point. At the ferry terminal, the next available sailing's at 7 o'clock, and there's 38% available deck space. Everything's on time so far out of Victoria International Airport.
Ryan and Lisa are ready when you are.
Good morning.
Day or night, find the highlights under latest audio at CFAX1070.com and on the free iHeartRadio app.
Well, we have a very special guest joining us right now. Of course, CFAX and Uptown teamed up around the Christmas season to bring you Santa's Anonymous Special Day, Miracle Day. And Uptown has continued on with lots of summer programming in store, including free salsa lessons and live music Fridays. General Manager Christy Lowe's joining us to walk through it. Hi there. Welcome back to the program.
Good morning, Steve and Lisa. How's everybody doing today?
Well, hearing a nice bright voice like that in the morning does us well, right?
I think so.
I agree.
We're very excited about this, especially the salsa.
Yes. Lisa, I hope to see you out there doing some dancing.
I can bust a move. When is the salsa?
Yes. Well, we've got a whole bunch of things going on. So why don't I start from the beginning?
Okay, start from the beginning.
So we have built this new area on Uptown Boulevard, and it's a beautiful open space with turf and picnic tables. It's 5,000 square feet. And we thought, in addition to being able to let your kids run free in this, again, gorgeous, safe environment, we thought, why don't we do some fun programming? So we have some salsa lessons from the Victoria Latin Dance Association, the official people folks, that will be able to teach you the moves. We've got Zumba that's happening. We've got local musicians that are going to be out there performing on Fridays from 4 to 6. And then if we really feel like turning it up, we're going to do some fitness classes on Fridays. 2 chances, one at 8 a.m. and one at 9 a.m.
Lisa was commenting before the show about how excited she was about this salsa stuff.
Yes.
In particular.
Katie, too.
Yeah.
Katie Hamilton's in.
Yeah. So tell us about what salsa is for people like me that know it's got something to do with Mexican culture, but...
There's no chips involved, Steve.
Right. Yes. Well, what I can tell you is that if you are a beginner or an expert, everybody's welcome. The team there from the Victoria Latin Dance Association will teach you the moves. So very simple, basic, back and forth. We had about 70 people that came out last week to do it. So It's just been such a hit, and we're so excited to be able to have that.
So when again does that happen?
That's on Thursdays.
Thursday, what time?
There's different times every week, so I encourage folks to go to our website, shopuptown.ca, just to check out the exact times and things.
What I like about these things is you don't realize how much exercise you're getting.
So true.
Yeah. It's fun. You make it fun, having a great time. Yeah. 70 is a really good crowd.
It's a really good crowd.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And for Zumba, there was about 50 people. So, yeah, it's a lively environment that just provides like really positive, good energy when you're coming to Uptown. So we're very excited about everything.
It's good space.
So live music Fridays. I imagine we've got a lot of talent in this area. We do.
We definitely do.
So you're giving them a stage right in the middle of it.
Yeah, exactly. On this new area that we've built, we've tucked away a little corner. So if you're there, you can grab a bite to eat, come with your family, enjoy, and listen to this great, a selection of live musicians that we have. And they're just truly fantastic.
The other thing I've noticed, getting off of the what you're offering here, is you've brought some new stores, businesses, restaurants into Uptown that have kind of given some fresh perspective because they're a little different. I'm thinking, and it's just over the last, I see an evolution, I guess is what I'm getting at.
Yes, certainly. Yes, we've got, our one of our original tenants, Meraki. She's such a fabulous retailer, Kylie Weber, for those who know her. Her little shop is located on the corner of Town Plaza, just on smack dab in the middle, right on Uptown Boulevard. And she carries tons of different brands, very Nordstrom-esque, things like Little White Perfect Tea, A Goldie, and she's really up and coming on what is new in the market and can provide that, something that I feel is missing actually in Greater Victoria.
Yeah, and you've got some more coming, right?
Yes, yeah, we always have lots of things coming. Definitely stay tuned to our website for that. And one thing I do want to mention and talk about is that we have decided to go big on this last soccer match that the entire country has really gotten behind. And so good to see, how far Canada made it. But we're going to be hosting on this park area a 130-foot outdoor screen. We welcome everybody to come down. Mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, dogs, anybody is welcome. We're going to be starting the game at 11 a.m., free parking. We're going to have a tap truck for those dads or moms that want a little brewski to celebrate. So I really encourage everybody to come down and celebrate that as well.
Is that today's game or on Sunday for the final?
That is on Sunday for the final. Thank you, Steve, for clarifying. Yeah.
No worries. So if you're Spanish in particular, because Spain is already there.
Right.
Can you imagine if England got there too, what Uptown would look like?
Yeah.
So fun.
More than 70, I would say, for the dance lessons. You better be ready for people because the weather's going to be great for it too.
Absolutely. Yeah. Great weather. As I said, we've got lots of things going on, some kids' activities, face painting. So, we really encourage everybody to come down and celebrate and enjoy the community space.
Fantastic.
Well, thanks for being such a great partner of CFAX 1070. We certainly appreciate you and all you do. And best of luck. And, you're making that Sunday watching the game thing a little tough for me to turn down, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a great place to hang out.
Yes. So thanks.
We'd love to have you.
Thanks for joining us, Christy. Take care.
Thank you. You guys too. Have a great day.
CFAX Victoria,
An iHeart radio station. If it's happening,
it's here.
CFAX 1070.
Seven o'clock on Wednesday, July 15th. Sunny and 25 in your forecast today. Time for CFAX 1070 News. Here's Lisa Best.
News in from the Bank of Canada, holding its benchmark interest rate steady at 2.25% for a sixth consecutive decision as our economy continues to take a hit with the cost of inflation. The Canadian Real Estate Association now downgrading its forecast again for home sales activities in 2026.
CREA is now expecting home sales to decline 1.4% this year compared with 2025, a reversal from its April forecast of a 1% gain. It left its Fed's national average home price prediction about the same, though, forecasting a 1.1% rise to about $687,000. Since its previous forecast, Korea says inflation concerns from higher oil prices had led to a jump in fixed mortgage rates, though they've since eased. Its latest forecast reflects a weak first half of the year and delayed start to the housing recovery. Michelle Zadikian, The Canadian Press.
To the pumps now, where gas prices have begun to inch up again in what analysts believe could be days or even weeks of sustained increases. Here's Canadians for Affordable Energy President Dan McTagg on the issue.
The world is quickly running out of oil, available oil to meet demand. So it's pretty clear to me that you can only ignore economic fundamentals for so long. And the complacency by Wall Street may be one thing, but the reality is about to hit everybody pretty darn hard.
For the moment, prices for a regular liter of gas at the pumps is hovering around $189.9. Diesel, of course, slightly higher than that, up to $237, depending where you're purchasing. The war with Iran appears to be intensifying this morning after CENTCOM announced the U.S. has completed another round of strikes on Iran targeting coastal defense systems.
This fight is now focused on a battle for the Strait of Hormuz, which ships were able to pass through freely before the war started. Iran has been firing on cargo ships and American allies. The U.S. overnight launching a 7-hour wave of strikes aimed at degrading Iran's ability to threaten commercial shipping. And the president says these attacks will escalate in the coming days.
We will keep you posted on what happens next. The Canadian Federation of Independent Business giving high grades to Ottawa and most provinces and territories for their collective work tackling long-standing internal trade barriers. The CFIB's Kelly Lepke says the Federation's been hammering the need to knock down barriers to trade within Canada over the last decade, but didn't see progress until U.S. tariffs put that issue on the front burner.
If governments are not moving quite quickly over the next year to implement some of these pieces that they've talked about, we will see the grades drop.
The CFIB survey of its members shows few small businesses have so far noticed any actual changes when it comes to doing business across provincial and territorial borders. Astronomers have apparently found a sweet spot in space.
In Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, the Beatles sang of
tangerine trees and marmalade skies.
Now astronomers say they have detected a type of sugar lurking in interstellar space.
Molecular clouds where stars and planets are forming.
Astrophysicist Ezaskin Jimenez Serra with the Spanish Astrobiology Center says they're essential ingredients for the origin of life.
Because they represent the backbone of RNA and DNA.
The sugar's called erythrulose.
They can be found in raspberries and in other red fruits.
Meaning the ingredients for life
could be distributed across the galaxy
and help life develop elsewhere. The results published this week in the journal Nature Astronomy. I'm Ben Thomas.
America beginning to see the light, a new development in the debate over changing clocks twice a year.
Congress made daylight saving time permanent during the 1970s energy crisis, but reversed course after parents revolted over children walking to school in pitch dark winter mornings. In Florida alone, 8 kids were killed in traffic accidents. Permanent daylight saving time would mean the sun wouldn't rise until 8:52 a.m. in Seattle in mid-January and 9:04 a.m. in Indianapolis. But this new bill would allow states to opt out and make their own decisions.
It's exactly what BC's going to be dealing with come the We Won't Fall Back in November. That's your news to 7:05. Your CFAX 1070 news poll question this morning. We're asking if you've ever used a buy now, pay later short-term financing service to cover your basic essentials like groceries. 2% say yes on our website, but that number jumps to 5% on Twitter X. You can vote now at CFAX1070.com, also on the iHeartRadio app. And Lisa, best your news time is 7:06.
Thank you, Lisa. Weather forecast for Greater Victoria. Sunny today, becoming a mix of sun and cloud this afternoon. Winds will be light except west 30 near the Juan de Fuca Strait, a high near 25. 19 where the winds blow onshore. The humidex is going to feel like 28. Partly cloudy tonight, becoming cloudy before morning with a 40% chance of showers and the risk of a thunderstorm before morning and a low near 14. Mainly cloudy with a 40% chance of showers tomorrow, risk of a thunderstorm in the morning and a high near 20. Right now in downtown Victoria, 13 degrees. In your sports, Steve Yzerman abruptly stepped down as general manager of the Detroit Red Wings this morning. He'll run things until a replacement is named. The American League over the National League 4-0 in the All-Star game last night in Philadelphia. The West Coast League All-Star game goes tonight, 6:35 start at Royal Athletic Park. It's England and Argentina today at noon our time in the semifinal of the World Cup. That'll be in Atlanta. The winner will meet Spain. Spain blanked France 2-0 yesterday. The NBA investigation into Kawhi Leonard's contract with the Clippers continues. There may be a second endorsement deal connected to the signing. The trade to Toronto is on hold pending the outcome, and a decision about a potential expansion team in Seattle is ongoing, with a final vote on that expected before the end of the year. Start things at the ferry terminal. Next available sailing out of Swartz Bay is at 8 o'clock. It has 41% available deck space. If you're headed to the mainland later today, just a couple of sailings to note. The 4 o'clock sailing just has 10% of estimated vehicle space available, and the 8 o'clock has 8%. So just plan accordingly around that. On the highways, it's much lighter than usual on the Trans-Canada Victoria bound. Just a slowdown, but certainly no red zones to speak of so far this morning. Pat Bay Highway is in good shape as well, and I see no issues on the Malahad either. On the markets, the TSX is up 4 points at 35,325. The Dow Jones up 163 at 52,672. The Nasdaq is up 90 points at 26,197. And the Canadian dollar's down 2 basis points at 71.1 cents U.S.
Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
7:10 here at CFAX 1070. Steve in for Ryan, who is, probably out in the wilderness at this point. Just enjoying life.
It could be in his backyard, too.
Yep. Enjoying life.
Time away from the office.
Yes. And we should point out, we need Ryan to get days off just like every other human being in the world. Oh, yeah? I know some of you are a little upset that, there's no Ryan today. Understood. But the reason I get up at this time and Claire gets up at this time, because Ryan does both jobs when he's here. I'm not capable of that. So I have Claire here to help me through the day.
Claire's here.
Yes. and does a wonderful job.
She does.
And is one of those MVP type individuals.
Strong but silent.
Yes. MVP is what I call them. The people that help you succeed.
Yeah.
And helps others succeed. The ultimate team player, the glue kind of person. Much appreciated.
She's the glue.
So
I like strong silent.
In any event, we wanted Ryan to have a holiday because he deserves one. He helped with the Santa's Anonymous thing for the full year as the president. He does the morning show. He has 2 children. He has a wonderful wife. He needs some time to himself, too.
That's fair.
Yes. So if you're listening, stop listening, go back to sleep, catch up on your sleep, and make sure you enjoy yourself. We've been talking about Tim Hortons Day today. So I thought we'd go through what the Esquimalt store in particular is doing.
Oh, okay. That'd be fantastic, yeah.
Okay. So they have a Pie in the Face fundraiser.
I'll pass, but I'll watch.
Guests can vote for the person they'd most like to see get pied by donating to the chosen participant jar.
It's the little things. It's the little things. I like it.
I like it a lot.
Yeah.
Imagine if we did that politically and had the 3.
Okay, what's in the jar?
So, well, you put the money in the jar. Whose jar would be full? Quick.
Yeah, you go.
I think David Evie's jar might be in a little jeopardy now.
Possibly.
I think Pierre Poilievre's might be a little dicey right now. Probably Prime Minister Carney, because some don't view him positively. It'd be interesting. You know?
See whose jar is half full and half empty and the perspective of it?
Yes.
Yeah.
They're also having a Guess the Timbits contest.
I like it.
A 50-50 draw, several raffle prizes that they'll give away throughout the event, and there'll also be plenty of opportunities to participate, have fun, and support a great cause, which, of course, is sending kids to camp.
Yeah, you only got so many years to be a child, so... did you ever go to camp?
I did. I'm trying to remember where it was. I think it was just north of where I grew up. So
it's always close.
Yeah, I think it was
usually parents have to drive you there.
If I was the nearest town to it was called Embro.
Okay.
And
did you have a good time?
No, not really.
Okay. Was it your first time away from home?
Yes.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah.
That's tough. Parents know now, I think. Parents are more savvy with it. They know to sort of ease a child into it, because when you're sending, especially someone younger to camp, if they're not into their tweens or teens, it can be quite shocking for a child to be away from their parents and with a bunch of strangers, basically. So they've learned, to sort of ease a child into these situations. So because the whole point of it is to have a good time. I find that's happening more and more, and camps are very tuned into that. Because I remember things from camp. I remember learning how to canoe, but I remember also missing my family.
Yes.
And so that part is key, and understanding that children would obviously feel that way is something that has to be addressed. So I know with Tim Hortons, I know they use counselors. They have a lot of experts on hand, basically, when it comes to their camp. And I think that's a really great way to do it, to ensure that kids they feel protected and they don't feel lonely and they feel that they're having a good time.
And when that started, there was that one camp near Parry Sound, right? Now there are 6.
Oh, wow. 2
in Ontario, 1 each in Nova Scotia, Quebec, Manitoba, and Alberta. So there's one just outside of Brantford. That's a farm. There's the Tim camp, the original camp in Parry Sound. There's one in Tatamagouche, Nova Scotia, which is have you ever been to Tatamagouche?
No, I just like saying the word, though.
They have
rolls off the tongue.
Little brewery downtown.
Oh, okay.
Just saying.
All right.
Really nice little brewery downtown. Right on sort of the north side of the Northumberland Strait. Very nice. Quéant, Quebec as well. Seven Sisters Falls, Manitoba.
Oh, that's close. Okay.
Okay.
In the prairies, yeah.
And the last one is in Kananaskis. Oh, no.
Nice area. Alberta.
So
it's grizzly country.
Kananaskis, very nice place. So that's where your money goes to send kids to those kind of camps. So once again, all proceeds, if you buy your coffee or your iced coffee today, go to a very worthy cause. 7:16, here's Lisa with your news headlines.
While we're on the theme of kids, the British government announcing plans for 16 and 17-year-olds to face a voluntary overnight social media curfew. It says that features can keep users from scrolling for longer while also switching off by default by older teens. Critics question the effectiveness of the measures given that the teens will be able to switch off the default settings. The planned restrictions come a month after the government unveiled a social media ban for under 16-year-olds when it comes to social media. The U.S. Military Central Command says it launched airstrikes on Greater Tund Island in the Strait of Hormuz, targeting Iranian defense and missile sites. The island is viewed as a strategic point in the strait. Days of back-and-forth strikes by the U.S. and Iran across the Middle East have shredded the interim deal to end the conflict, and the region could tip back into an all-out war situation. Iran's paramilitary Revolutionary Guard threatened to halt all energy exports from the Middle East over the U.S. blockade. And European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen visited Ukraine, pledging continued support against Russia's invasion. Several other senior officials from southeastern European countries are expected to visit today for Statehood Day, celebrating the country's self-determination. Von der Leyen says she'll introduce new steps towards integrating the European and Ukrainian defense systems. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky has recently won important pledges of further support, including from the Group of Seven in the so-called Coalition of the Willing Countries. And that is your news to 7:18.
Morning show brought to you by Coastal Heat Pumps. For a comfortable home no matter what the season and big savings on your heating bill. Talk to Coastal Heat Pumps, designed for comfort, the South Island's Elite Plus Fujitsu Air Stage dealer. Things starting to pick up a little bit on the Trans-Canada Highway. Not the volume we saw yesterday, not as slow as yesterday as you are Victoria bound, but there are places where you're not operating at peak speed. Just beware of that. Things getting a little congested on Douglas Street as you head towards the downtown area just after Uptown approaching Mayfair. No other delays to speak of at the ferry terminal. The next available sailings at 8 o'clock and 33 50% available vehicle space at this time.
The best way to start an island morning. Ryan and Lisa on CFAX 1070.
Some condo communities are finding it difficult to manage dog owners who don't pick up their dog's waste. Now, some buildings in the capital region have turned to a service that will match DNA abandoned waste with their dogs so owners can be fined. Poo Prints Canada. I didn't make this up. That's the name of the company. Gary Bradamore is joining us now. Good morning, Gary, and happy Poo Print.
Good morning, and thank you for inviting me. Yes, it can be comical at times.
Yes, well, it's something we can all relate to. We have personal information about
100%.
Now, are you two pet owners or dog owners, or
I'm an auntie.
Either one of you?
I'm an auntie.
You're an auntie.
I'm an auntie, yeah. So,
Yes.
and I see it all the time. Why have the dog if you can't clean up after it?
Yeah, it's unfortunate. So, believe it or not, Poo Prints has been around for quite some time. It was started in 2008 in Knoxville, Tennessee. I've been promoting the Poo Prints program in Canada since 2016. So I'm approaching my 10 years of working with Poo Prints across the country. And as you've seen in this recent article, where a pet owner, I believe her name was Marie, it was in one of our Poo Prints communities with High Street in Highgate. It was interesting coming from an actual pet owner who had to DNA register the dog. And I think that's probably the article that prompted you to reach out to us and find out a little more information.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Because I do know that you can tell a lot about an animal and which one was where. And like Parks Canada uses this for bears.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So this kind of testing is available and has been for a while.
Yes. Now, our lab is probably the most unique lab in all of North America and possibly in the world. We are ISO certified. We manage in upwards of 1.2 million dogs, I believe. We have over 10,000, not just condominiums and stratas, but as well as apartment communities that use our service regularly now. And the majority of the communities that use us are in Western Canada. In fact, BC, Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba. And Ontario, because of the rental rules and so forth, we work with condominiums in Ontario as well.
So how does it work? Do they provide a sample before they are allowed to move in?
Correct. We have what they call two kits, or I call them two kits. One's the front end kit, and one's the back end kit.
You don't have to go beyond that. We got the picture. It's breakfast radio.
No, we got it. We've put our spoons down a long time ago.
Yeah. So condominiums and or apartment communities, they pass a rule that says that it is mandatory for everyone in the community to register their dog's DNA. And so the front end kit is a simple cheek swab. And so the pet owner would make an appointment to come down and see a property manager or concierge or staff member. And the staff member would hand the cheek swab kit to the pet owner so that the property staff do not have to handle pets. Not everyone's comfortable with dogs and so forth. So the pet owner would cheek swab their own dog, and they would hand that DNA cheek swab back to the staff member, and the staff member would close up the envelopes and so forth and probably capture more than one, but they would send it down to a lab. Within a very short period of time, our lab captures the DNA specific to that dog. So it's not a breed test. It's not this is a lab or a German Shepherd and so forth. It is DNA specific to that dog. Now, that DNA allocated to that particular dog is then downloaded into our database, which is the DNA World Pet Registry, and it stays there under that property account specifically until, heaven forbid, if somebody does not pick up their pet's waste in the community. And trust me, I've heard of all sorts of areas where pet waste has been found in a building. Stairwells, parking garages, thrown off balconies, you name it. When a maintenance crew is cleaning up, they simply use the back-end kit, which is our waste collection kit, and they would take a piece of that while they're cleaning it up, put it in the bottle, shake it up, and send it down to the lab. Within 2 weeks of receiving the waste collection kit, we are then able to match exactly what dog it belongs to and, of course, the pet owner. We then have a 3-page match documentation that indicates all the processes and the 16 markers that we've identified to match that particular dog and facilitate that to the property management company. The property management company enforces their laws and introduces it to the culprit. And again, they come up with whatever, if it's a fine, if it's a penalty, if it's a chargeback, as it relates to a strata corporation, then that would be applied to the unit and the pet owner. And that's it.
So when are you going to be down on Dallas Bluffs? Just asking for a friend. Because
well, I
find that most people are signing on. They're already sort of on board with this program, right? It's sort of like buying a self-help book. You're already there, So how do we catch culprits out in the wild, out in where leash only or leash off is appropriate? Is that possible?
Well, absolutely. So we have worked with municipalities across the country and we're at various stages with them on what is the best way to implement that. We do have municipalities, we do have parks, private parks and community parks that are using the program. And it would be the exact same way that we manage it with condos and apartments. If people are using that area, that community, and so forth, and it could be an off-leash park, which are traditionally fenced off at that entrance prior to being able to use the park, they would have to cheek swab their dog.
Wow,
I love it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, if people were responsible and respectful, and we understand, I mean, we're a pet-friendly company, and trying to promote responsible pet ownership so that we can get more pet-friendly communities, because in Western Canada, landlords and condominiums can choose whether or not they want to be pet-friendly or not. And it's these types of cases where people are not responsible in a multifamily community is why landlords and strata corporations don't want pets on board. It is the number one complaint that people have. And I don't think that other people do realize either that even across Canada, we have 8.7 million dogs. And in the multifamily community, it's a little bit higher as far as percentage-wise, but we're looking at 40% of multifamily communities that are pet-friendly own a dog, which means 60% do not own a pet. And so people need to be respectful of everyone in the community and not just pet owners. But I found it very not interesting, but I thought it was a great article for Marie to reach out to her local paper, I think it was, to describe as a pet owner the benefits that she found as a pet owner. Because, there's a lot of pet owners that are just as fed up, if you will, because they are responsible for non-responsible pet owners not picking up and making their community dirty.
I'd love to keep talking about this, but we're out of time.
I'm sorry.
No, that's
that's
okay.
quite all right. It's very interesting.
And your philosophy is quite interesting as well. So thanks for sharing that, and thanks for taking a few moments. And I'm sure, you know what, we'll probably revisit this at some point because Lisa's question about municipalities, I think it is getting to that point in a number of places. So thanks for joining us today, Gary, and have a great day.
I appreciate the invitation. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful day.
You too.
Developing political story, a big doozy.
Vashi Capellos.
What started as a dull day is anything but.
The top newsmakers.
Your go-to political debrief. Daily.
What is really going on?
The breaking news.
Just moments ago.
And the entertaining analysis and debate to follow.
I don't think you can sugarcoat it. It's an issue.
It's not true, guys. Yeah.
Vashi Capellos.
There is a greater plan here.
Vashi Capellos. Weekdays 9 a.m. to 11.
Bigger picture politically, which is
on CFAX 1070. CFAX Victoria.
An iHeart radio station. If it's happening,
it's here.
CFAX 1070.
Good morning, Vancouver Island. 7:33, Wednesday, July the 15th. Sunny and 25, your forecast for today. Time for CFAX 1070 News. Here's Lisa Best.
Thanks, Steve. Good morning. Vic PD looking for witnesses, possibly dash cam footage following reports of a hit and run. Officers called to the 1000 block of Caledonia Avenue yesterday afternoon over the noon hour. Police say a cyclist traveling west on Caledonia was hit by a dark-colored SUV. The male driver drove off. The cyclist has non-life-threatening injuries. West Shore CMP kept hopping earlier this week, dealing with a spate of bad behavior across Langford. Started around 7:20 Monday night. This call from people about people trying to sell fake jewelry for cash in the Canadian Tire parking lot. That's been making the rounds in Langford lately. Officers did search the area but didn't come up with any suspects. About 30 minutes later, a hiker spotted a man wearing nothing but a baseball cap and a backpack on a trail near Stewart Mountain Road. You can't dress like that when you're hiking. He did not approach the witness and was gone, unfortunately, before officers arrived. Later at 8:20, police were called to reports of shots fired at a parked transport trailer near the 2900 block of Souk Road. Police did arrest two men in that case, 34 and 44 years old. And then investigators did determine that the weapon involved was an imitation gun. Later that night at 10:22, a 27-year-old man arrested for allegedly assaulting a person who tried to stop him from entering an apartment building on Jacqueline Avenue. He didn't have keys for that apartment building. And then just after 11, RCMP say a 38-year-old woman was arrested after allegedly damaging signs in the 700 block of Hockley Avenue. She appeared to be under the influence of drugs. She was later released. Police say the other calls that night include traffic complaints, mischief, suspicious people, well-being checks, and other routine requests for service. So it's been busy lately on the West Shore. A BC helicopter company says 2 people have died, 1 person injured after one of its aircraft went down on the Central Coast during forestry operations Tuesday morning. Lisa Laporte has details.
West Coast Helicopters says its pilot and a crew member from a logging company were killed when the Hughes 500 chopper crashed in Loughborough Inlet around 6:15 a.m. on Tuesday. BC Emergency Health Services says a 3rd person was flown out by air ambulance to hospital where they are in serious but stable condition.
The Transportation Safety Board of Canada is deploying investigators. They should be on site by this morning. The BC Wildfire Service says the RAP attack crew has been added to the firefighting efforts in the Brunswick Creek complex of fires outside Boston Bar. The service employs about 40 firefighters who are trained to rappel from the helicopter into areas that are otherwise hard to access. This comes after wildfire officials warned of an increase of wildfire activity this week with hotter, drier temperatures on the way. Wildfire Operations Director Cliff Chapman says the risk is particularly high in the southern 2/3 of the province that run along the U.S. border.
We're anticipating that we will see dry lightning in those areas. What dry lightning means is that we will see high winds, lightning hitting the ground, and it will come with very little or no precipitation, leading to a very high potential of wildfire starts and wildfire spreads.
There are currently 20 wildfires burning in this province. 2 are considered out of control. There's no new fires on Vancouver Island, but if you see something that doesn't look right, smoke in the wilderness, text 5555 to let them know. In health news, a new blood test could determine whether someone will develop Alzheimer's.
A blood test could determine whether a healthy adult is likely to develop Alzheimer's disease. In the study, doctors tested for the presence of a brain protein called p-tau217, which helps fuel Alzheimer's. Dr. Risa Sperling is with Mass General Brigham Neuroscience Institute.
We found that people who have very high levels of this blood test abnormality, p-tau217, were very likely to progress over time. So 38% of them progressed to impairment within 5 years, and actually up to 78% within 10 years.
But Sperling says it's too soon for healthy people to get the blood test, which is now used to help diagnose people who are experiencing cognitive problems. I'm Donna Warder.
That's your CFAX News to 7:37. Your CFAX 1070 news poll question. Have you ever used a buy now, pay later short-term financing service to cover basic essentials like food on the table? 2% say yes on our website. That jumps to 5% saying yes on Twitter X. You can vote now at CFAX1070.com, Twitter X, and also the iHeartRadio app. And Lisa Best, your news time is 7:39.
Thank you, Lisa. We have an accident, Lisa.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to give people the heads up, even though we're supposed to do weather first. I know if you're in a car and you're heading towards it, you would say, Steve, tell me about the accident. It's in a very strategic place. Saanich Road, say, Boleskid, and right in front of Uptown.
Okay.
So traffic is already backed up coming into the city, and it's affecting traffic in both directions. So just be on the lookout for that. And it's getting redder and redder as we go by. So we don't know the extent of it. If you got eyes on it, text us at 71010. Just letting you know that maybe that Burnside as an alternate might be in handy, or Blanchard, of course, as an alternate. You want to try to stay off of Douglas Street right now.
Something you may notice too, further south of that, along Dallas, Douglas in the James Bay area, there's a power outage affecting nearly 1,000 people. Power's been off since about 7. 994 customers, BC Hydro customers affected. A wire is down, no word on why, but you may have traffic lights not working in the area there as well. And of course, we'll let you know as soon as power is back on. Doesn't say crews are on the way yet, so it might take, actually crews is signed, so not quite there yet, but they'll get on that quick.
Thank you. Weather forecast for Greater Victoria: sunny, becoming a mix of sun and cloud this afternoon, a high near 25, partly cloudy tonight. Becoming cloudy before morning, 40% chance of showers, risk of a thunderstorm at a low near 14. Mainly cloudy tomorrow, 40% chance of showers, risk of a thunderstorm in the morning, and a high near 20. Right now in downtown Victoria, it's 13 degrees. The American League over the National League 4-0 in the All-Star game last night in Philadelphia. Good first inning by Blue Jays hurler Dylan Cease. He struck out the side. The West Coast League All-Star game goes tonight at Royal Athletic Park. That's a 6:35 start. Tickets still available on the Harbor Cats website. Team Harbor Cats won the Home Run Derby. Of course, Team Harbor Cats had yesterday's guest, Blue Jay Kevin Pillar, on their squad. Tempo lost 79-62 to Washington in the WNBA. Royals assigned check forward Marek Petruka. He had 26 goals in an under-20 team last year. Season's over for the Junior B Shamrocks. They lost the third and deciding game of that series, 12-9 to Langley last night. For a comfortable home, no matter what the season, a big savings on your heating bill. Talk to Coastal Heat Pumps, designed for comfort. The South Island's Elite Plus Fujitsu Air Stage dealer. As we mentioned, we have some traffic chaos starting to occur as the Trans-Canada by Uptown, there, the corner of Boleskine and Douglas and Saanich Road, that intersection, there's an accident there, and that is starting to stack things up on a fairly large basis right now. So just be on the lookout for that and give yourself an alternate route. The Trans-Canada generally is slow from about Veterans Memorial Parkway, speeds up a little bit, then gets really slow as you get to Island Highway, speeds up a little bit, and then gets really slow in front of Victoria General Hospital until you get through the construction zone. I don't see any other problems. Pat Bay Highway, a little slow around Elk Beaver Lake Regional Park, and at the ferry terminal, next available sailings at 8 o'clock, still has 23% available deck space. Checking your numbers on the stock market today, the TSX is up 107 points so far at 35,427. The Dow Jones up 251 at 52,759, and the Nasdaq up 102 at 26,209. The Canadian dollar up 2 basis points at 71.2 cents US.
Let's get started. Start your day informed and entertained. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
Some comments by listeners this morning. We always appreciate those at 7:10:10. Good morning, Steve and Lisa. That Uptown World Cup bash sounds like a lot of fun, but could you add the date to the scrolling thingy on your news? Since there's a game today, I'm wondering if I should head down there this afternoon. Well, you can head down there, but you won't see the game because they've got the screen set up on Sunday for the final.
Okay.
So,
and I did have it that for final, it said final in there, but of course did not have Sunday in there. So it's in there now.
Okay. When I lived in Prince George during August, we'd quite often get a sheet lightning and thunder on a hot, cloudy summer night and see the northern lights. Prince George is lovely this time of year, by the way.
Can be.
Thanks to CFAX for the FIFA Fan Fest concert package. The Rosedale on Robson Hotel was a great suite. Motley Crue played an entertaining show.
Okay, back up. This was our Summer of Rock.
Summer of Rock.
This was Terry, one of our big winners.
That's who it is. Avid listener Terry. That's the way he's...
Oh, okay, so this was a big deal.
Yeah. Motley Crue played an entertaining show Sunday night in a fantastic venue at the new PNE Amphitheater. But the Helljet ride harbor to harbor was the real treat. What an awesome and professional way to travel on and off our island. Helljet provided the real rock star treatment for me, my wife, and I loved the whole experience. Thanks again, CFAX, Lisa, and Ryan. And that's from Terry.
The whole time we were promoting this concert, because we got on board with the pub downstairs. They're like, "Hey, let's do a concert of rock and
Sax Point Pub.
Let's good beer, good people, and good food. What else could you want in life, really? They gave us tickets to AC/DC. I'm trying to think of all the acts now. There was a Motley Crue, and there was Guns N' Roses, and just wicked great event all around. But I was telling people who are entering, it's going to be the Helijet ride. If you've never been on Helijet before, it really is the rock star treatment. You're door to door. You feel like you're on an elevator, but you can see everything. The water and the buildings. It's just a fantastic way to travel. And so I'm really glad that Terry and his wife enjoyed the whole thing, especially the Helijet ride. It's kind of sounds silly because you think, oh, you want to go to the show and it's being over on the mainland. No, it's the trip over there. You enjoy the route there, not just the destination. So that is fantastic news to hear from you, Terry.
And thanks for listening, and we're glad you had a great time. And if you've never, I realize not a lot of people have had the privilege of being on a helicopter.
Well, it can get expensive. Occasionally they have sales, but they're few and far between, of course, because, they have to pay their bills too. And yeah, it's a bit of sticker shock getting on a helicopter.
But it is sensational, the things you can see from a helicopter and the way they can maneuver things in and out. Oh.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just...
Now you want to get on Helijet, don't you?
To be honest, when I saw that text, I'm trying to arrange a way for my daughter and I to get back to the island from Vancouver in August. Yeah. And, I went to the Helijet website.
It's nice if you can take HarborJet one way and take Helijet back, or Helijet and BC Ferries, or Harbor, whatever way, but take one from the air and one from the water if you can. Totally different experience, totally different speed. And
they actually sell that package out of Nanaimo with the Hollow Ferry.
Oh,
so that you can take the plane one way and the ferry
I like that.
the other.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yes.
I love that.
Yes.
So, whether there's a package or not, when you're going back and forth, I'm probably telling you something you already know, but when you have people in town, it's nice to be able to take them on the ferry and then also take them by air, because you just see it. It's a totally different kind of experience. Huh.
And, what's below?
What?
Is really well created. Like Vancouver Island, the Gulf Islands, Salt Spring.
Oh, what you see?
Yeah.
Occasionally you see orca. I have not, but occasionally you see humpback.
They have been around.
I know.
They were.
I see them from land. I never see them from the water.
They were sneaking around yesterday.
They're sneaky that way.
Over by Esquimalt Lagoon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're sneaking around.
Pop up. It's breathtaking to see them.
Just hanging about, doing their whale things.
Everything's black and white with those guys.
So doing her news things.
Yes.
Here's Lisa Best with your headlines.
If you drive a Beamer, BMW, they're adding a new warning to a recent recall. This week, the German automaker announced it was recalling nearly 30,000 of the luxury plug-in cars due to a risk of the engine starter fire. Now, the company is advising owners to affect the affected models outside until the vehicles can be inspected for repairs. All the affected models are listed on the company's website, so best to check ahead. A new Simon Fraser University survey of 1,000 BCers are growing increasingly wary of things artificial intelligence. Companies behind the technology is getting the side eye as well. 54% say they've heard or read a lot about AI, up from 17% in 2024. More than 60% now say they've used AI in some form. That's up from 9% 2 years ago. 66% believe that the potential risk outweighs the potential benefits, compared to 56% feeling the same way in 2024. And a whopping 86% of people asked say they worry that AI is going to make people feel more disconnected in society. The findings also indicate that the BC government is playing a central role in regulating this new technology, while there's limited appetite for solutions where companies self-regulate or individuals become more literate about AI. We're going to have a special guest coming up in the 8 o'clock hour, so next hour, talking more about AI. This is Fergus Lindley-Motta, the founder and director of the Simon Fraser University's Dialogue on Technology projects. He's done all this investigation. He also headed up that survey that I just spoke of. That's your news to 7:51.
Where the noise stops and the conversation begins.
Hey, it's Friday. Welcome to the Graham Richardson Show.
The stories that shaped your week aren't just headlines. They are the moments we live through and the decisions that change what comes next.
Let's take a closer look at that together.
It's national conversations. From major policy shifts to the fun, unexpected trends and friends everyone will be talking about. It is intelligent, unpredictable, and completely Canadian. Stay informed. Stay ahead. The Graham Richardson Show. Friday morning at 9 a.m. right here on CFAX 1070.
.53 here at CFAX 1070, checking your traffic situation. That accident just in front of Uptown on Douglas Street at Sandwich Road is causing quite a backup. Traffic now almost backed up all the way to Tillicum, so if you can avoid that area, either drop across down to Gorge Road or Clegg-Flower or Burnside even will give you a much better attempt at getting downtown a lot faster. TransCanada Victoria bound a little slow right from Thetis Lake Regional Park to through the construction zone, and then it improves until you get to Tillicum and you hit that other. We have that hydro outage as well downtown. It's northeast of Dallas Road, west of Circle Drive, south of Simcoe Street. A wire's down, about 1,000 customers are affected. BC Hydro says a crew has been assigned.
It's all here. News, weather, traffic, and community events. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
CFAX 1070, the friend of the bird, of course. And we have the bird calls from my friend Lisa. And today, we're going to do hoo-hoo stuff. The Western Screech Owl Stewardship and Monitoring Program seems to be showing positive signs for the future of the bird in the capital region as it continues to deal with significant habitat loss. Habitat Acquisition Trust Wildlife Stewardship Coordinator Juliana Raposa Wild is joining us. Good morning, Juliana. That is a long job title.
Hi, good morning, Steve. Yeah, it definitely is. You did great.
So maybe let us know what your program is doing right now to help out the Western Screech Owl.
Yeah, for sure. So our work, we focus on the Canacotii subspecies of the Western Screech Owl, and this is a really small owl. Fairly larger than a robin. They don't migrate; they stay here year round, and they're native to this area. And as you mentioned, they were once common in this area, but they're facing dramatic population declines. They rely on key habitat features that are found in mature old growth forests. So these features are like cavities made by woodpeckers, which they use for nesting. They aren't able to excavate their own sites. And so they're facing threats from habitat loss. They're facing threats from the barred owl, which is a recently established species who actually thrive in these environments. And they're outcompeting the screech owl for food, and they prey on them directly. They're facing many other threats like rodenticides. They've got predation by cats, also vehicle collisions. So, yeah, these are owls. They need our help. And our program actually started in 2015. We've been working since then to monitor for these owls across the Capital Regional District. And we identify important habitats for enhancement and to protect as well. And so our program, we do lots of different things. We monitor for these owls using acoustic surveys they're called the call playback map. So what we do is we go out with a team of volunteers in areas with suitable habitat, and we set up after dusk and we play the screech owl call, and we listen for owls to call back. And this helps us where owls are located in the region.
So a lot of the same technology is used for bat surveys, eh?
Yeah, it's similar. They're both kind of like acoustic surveys, but yeah, we also survey for bats.
Okay. So what have you seen happen since 2015 till now?
Yeah, so, this year we had some really exciting monitoring results. Last year we surveyed kind of a smaller area, and we only detected one owl. This year we were able to survey a much larger area, so we surveyed 10 survey areas compared to 3 last year, and we actually detected 3 owls this year. And we also, during spring monitoring of our hat nest boxes, we confirmed a screech owl pair using the boxes, and they had 2 chicks. And so, yeah, this is all really, really exciting. We aren't able to identify trends in the data yet, but the increase in the detections is certainly promising, for sure.
We always like to get the public involved. So what can they do to support your work and maybe provide some of that habitat that has been lost?
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of ways that folks can help protect screech owls. So we always recommend keeping dead trees in mature forests if you have these features in your backyard. They're critical habitat, as long as it's safe to do so. Definitely avoiding the use of rodenticides. So if rodents consume rodenticides and then the owl eats them, the owl is also going to be poisoned. And we are always looking for volunteers to support our Western Screech Owl program. So there's lots of opportunities to get involved that way. If you want to volunteer with HAT, you can sign up on our volunteer page.
And where can people find that?
Yeah, so that's on our website. Our website is www.hat.bc.ca. And also, if you keep an ear out for screech owls, so listen for screech owls in the evenings. And if you ever hear a screech owl, you can report. We ask that you report that detection to HAT. They have a very distinct call. It kind of sounds like a ping pong ball kind of bouncing to a stop. Yeah. And also, if you're also, it'd be great to donate to the wildlife program. Donations help us install more boxes, expand our monitoring efforts, and protect this really important habitat for screech owls and other species as well.
Can you do us a favor? Can you get a recording of a western screech owl and send it to us so that Lisa can include it as one of her bird calls when we do a feature?
Yeah, I can definitely send you. Yeah, I can send you a link to the bird calls.
Yeah, the
and
one
just
that you use.
One important thing to note about this screech owl calls is just really important to not play the calls when you're out in the wild, because this can cause stress to owls and also put them at risk of predation. So always listening to owl calls inside. But I can definitely send it to you.
Excellent.
Awesome. We'll share it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thanks for doing this. Have a great Wednesday, and keep looking out for the owls. Much appreciated.
Great. Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
That's Coordinator Juliana Laposa Wild joining us about the owls.
CFAX Victoria.
An iHeart radio station. If it's happening,
It's here.
CFAX 1070.
Good morning, 8:02 here at CFAX 1070, Wednesday, July the 15th. Steve in for Ryan today. Sunny, 25 degrees in your forecast. Time for CFAX 1070 News. Here's Lisa Best.
It may be that the U.S. is following BC's lead and America is beginning to see the light and darkness later. A big development in the debate over changing clocks twice a year stateside.
Congress made daylight saving time permanent during the 1970s energy crisis, but reversed course after parents revolted over children walking to school in pitch dark winter mornings. In Florida alone, 8 kids were killed in traffic accidents. Permanent daylight saving time would mean the sun wouldn't rise until 8:52 a.m. in Seattle in mid-January and 9:04 a.m. in Indianapolis. But this new bill would allow states to opt out and make their own decisions.
Here in BC, the CRA says a Canada-wide arrest warrant has been issued for Wen Tao Yang, a Vancouver resident, following repeated failure to make a court appearance. Yang was charged with multiple offenses, including tax evasion and fraud last November, both as an individual and also in his capacity as a director of the Calais Energy Group. In Ottawa, the National Chief for the Assembly of First Nations says a planned meeting this fall between the First Ministers and chiefs across the country didn't come easy, and it must not be the only one of its kind. Sydney Woodhouse Nipanak describes First Nations' previous exclusion from these meetings as very disrespectful.
It was a hard, long road, and I want to uplift the many national chiefs before me, the many staff that worked before me, the many folks that pushed and pushed to get a First Minister's meeting. That's just having one piece of it, but I think the old global piece of it is we need to be at the table fully.
Calls for the meeting with First Ministers increased last year when the federal and provincial governments were discussing amongst themselves ways to fast-track major infrastructure projects, with First Nations not at that table. The federal government is top of the class in a new report card tackling progress on internal trade, as marked by the Canadian Federation of Independent Business. Ottawa apparently rose from a C to an A+ in this year's report card for its legislative changes and leadership in getting the provinces and territories to the table to knock down long-standing trade barriers. The CFIB's Kelly Lufke says despite those wins, most small business claims that it hasn't really translated into more sales for them.
Governments across the country really have made more progress on internal trade in the last 2 years than we've seen in over a decade. And so some real improvement in the grades, but for most small businesses, really the realities in their day-to-day haven't changed.
Lupke says there's still more work to be done as provinces have not yet lived up to the word to remove restrictions on direct-to-consumer sales of alcohol across this country. And the Bank of Canada held its benchmark interest rate steady for the sixth consecutive time today.
The policy rate remains at 2.25% after the hold, which was widely expected by economists. New forecasts from the bank also show inflation is expected to ease back toward its 2% target by next year after jumping in response to surging oil prices over the spring. The bank is so far seeing little spillover from the Iran war into prices beyond gas pumps and the grocery store. The bank also says it was surprised by a modest contraction in the economy to start the year, but now expects those temporary drags will pass and set the economy up for growth through the rest of 2026. Michelle Zadikian, The Canadian Press.
That's your CFAX News to 8:06. Your CFAX 1070 news poll question this morning, we're asking if you've ever used a buy now, pay later short-term financing service to cover basic essentials like food on the table. 5% on Twitter X say yes, 2% on our website. You can vote now at CFAX1070.com. Social media, also the iHeartRadio app. I'm Lisa Best. Your news time is 8:03.
Thank you, Lisa. Weather forecast for Greater Victoria. Sunny today, becoming a mix of sun and cloud this afternoon, a high near 25. Partly cloudy tonight, becoming cloudy before morning with a 40% chance of showers and risk of a thunderstorm, a low near 14. Mainly cloudy, 40% chance of showers tomorrow, risk of the thunderstorm in the morning, and a high near 20. Mix of sun and cloud for Friday with a high near 20. Right now in downtown Victoria, it's 15 degrees. They've just released the NHL schedule this morning. The season will begin on September 29th with 2 games. One of those involving the Canucks. They'll be on the road in Edmonton. The American League blanked the National League 4-0 in the All-Star game last night in Philadelphia. Team Harbor Cats won the Home Run Derby last night as the West Coast League All-Star game goes tonight at 6:35 at Royal Athletic Park. Tickets are still available on the Harbor Cats website. It's a Battle of the Falklands revisited this afternoon. England taking on Argentina. It's the semifinals of the World Cup. The winner meets Spain on Sunday for all the marbles. Spain blanked France 2-0 yesterday. The Royals have signed check forward Marek Petruka. He had 26 goals last season. And Steve Yzerman has stepped down as general manager of the Red Wings. He'll run things until a replacement is named. It's a bit of a traffic mess out there right now on the Trans-Canada around Uptown. 2 accidents now, as an accident begets more accidents, and that's the way things seem to work. So it starts to be slow in the Victoria-bound lanes just around Burnside, actually. Just after the Burnside exit, then it's slow right through past Uptown, and the Nanaimo-bound lanes are in good shape. So you're fine if you're headed out of the city. If you're coming into the city, there's 2 accidents. You're going to have to negotiate. A lot of people, it appears, took our advice about using Burnside as an alternate to the point where that's now slow. So you might want to consider going all the way down to Gorge Road instead, because it's moving a lot better than Burnside is at this point. Some other streets, Harriet is not in great shape as you head towards Uptown, and yeah, it's a bit of a mess. Meanwhile, outage-wise, wire down affecting almost 1,000 customers northeast of Dallas Road, west of Circle Drive, and south of Simcoe Street. That's in James Bay, of course. Crew has been signed. As soon as we get an update from BC Hydro, we'll pass it along to you. On the markets, the TSX up 100 points at 35,420. The Dow Jones up 184 at 52,692. NASDAQ is up 30, make that 44 points as it just clicked over to 26,151. And the Canadian dollar is up 4 basis points at 71.2 cents U.S.
Don't attempt your morning commute without us. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
Just a reminder, today is a very special day as it's Tim Hortons Camp Day. So if you're around and about, that's why I'm wearing my Tim Hortons Soccer Club shirt.
Sure are.
Yes, it says 64 in the back. There, turn around for the people on the TV.
Show and tell.
On the TV?
Yeah, it's there.
64 was the year that Tim Hortons started. That's why it's on the back of the jersey.
Mm-hmm.
Just the Esquimalt store's got some fundraising stuff going on, but it's available at each and every Tim Hortons location throughout Greater Victoria and around the island. And the coffee and iced coffee proceeds go towards the summer camps.
Putting kids in camp.
And there's 6 camps across the country. Okay. Most of the Western kids would be going to the one in Kananaskis.
All right.
I'm just thinking about, have you been to Kananaskis?
I sure have.
There's not a lot of places nicer than Kananaskis.
It's where they like to have the meetings, right?
G7 meetings.
Because, it's nice there. The other thing I want to mention, too, while we're talking about charities, is CFAX Santa's Anonymous 50/50 continues. It is online as a 50/50 that we have not just for the day or for the game. It goes until August 27th. The draw date actually is the 28th. So the 27th is your deadline to get it in. Why I'm mentioning it is it continues to draw more and more cash. This is the jackpot for Kids Count. And all this money for Kids Count goes to put food on the table, especially during summer programs, send kids to summer camp just like Tim Hortons does. if you want to send a kid to camp, but there's no shortage of opportunities to be able to put money towards something like that, which is such a great thing. So our current jackpot for the 50-50 as it stands online is just under $5,000, which means you walk away with about $2,500 today if it were to be drawn today. But that number will continue to go up. I know a lot more people are getting, this is hitting their radar now. It's summer launch and we've got other things focused on, but this will help with food year-round, will help with special events for children in need. Say there's a fire and children need immediate necessities, and also sending them to camp. We have the same kind of thing. We have the Therapeutic Riding Club where we put kids on horses and learn how to horseback ride. It's completely wholesome, a wonderful thing, and it just makes summer for them where they wouldn't otherwise have it. So we're sitting at $49.35 for the jackpot. I'd like to see it go over $5,000 this morning if possible. And that's going to be money in your pocket. If you win, we have a limited number of tickets available. So you have a pretty good chance of winning this. And of course, half goes to Santa's Anonymous to help families in need.
Well said, my friend. Lisa, here with your news headlines, to 8:15.
Investigators with the Transportation Safety Board of Canada arriving at the site of a fatal helicopter crash in a remote coastal inlet here in BC. West Coast Helicopter says the pilot and crew from a logging company were killed yesterday when a Hughes 500 helicopter crashed. BC Emergency Health Services say a third person was flown out by air ambulance. They're apparently in stable but serious condition. West Coast Helicopter says the pilot had worked with the company for the past 5 years. Always had a smile on his face, adding he was well known in the community of Port McNeill here on Vancouver Island. Forest Minister Ravi Parmar says the BC government is deploying staff to support affected workers for Canfor. Announced a plan to permanently close its Northwood pulp mill outside Prince George. That means 300 people are losing their jobs. Parmar says he's also reached out to the Workers' Union, Unifor Local 603, as well as the City of Prince George, and offering others his support. Vancouver-based Canfor says the pulp and paper sector is facing significant challenge, and the additional production capacity that's come online globally has created an oversupply in the market, a bit of a glut, putting downward pressure on prices. And something light this weekend, spinning out for specials, special gifted people who like to knit, crochet, and weavers this weekend. It's the Spinnacle Yarn Cafe's 4th annual Entwined Market. Features more than 50 yarn and fiber dyers, weavers, spinners, textile artists, potters, beaters from across BC and Alberta. It goes 11 to 5 Saturday at Royal Roads University's John Horgan campus. That's at 798 Goldstream Avenue. So if you want to get crafty, that would be a spot to check out. That's your news to 8:17.
all your DIY exterior product needs, visit ProTech Exterior Products in person at 875 Viewfield Road or at beahomepro.com.
8:19 here at CFAX 1070. Once again, we have those travel delays due to a pair of accidents on the Trans-Canada Victoria bound right in front of Uptown. Traffic is backed up all the way to Burnside, Victoria bound, and it's also slow again once you get past that at Cloverdale as you approach Midtown there. It's also busy as well. Burnside would be your natural alternate, but it's getting blocked up as well as people try to duck around the accident. Might want to consider going all the way down to Gorge or taking Craigflower as an alternate. Trans-Canada is also slow, basically from Thetis Lake Regional Park all the way through the construction zone to the big curve as you head Victoria bound. Everything is in good shape northbound towards Nanaimo all the way from Uptown on. We have that outage continuing at in James Bay. A wire is down. It's affecting an area northeast of Dallas Road, west of Circle Drive, south of Simcoe Street, and about 1,000 customers affected. A crew has been assigned. We're expecting an update shortly from BC Hydro. At the ferry terminal, the next available sailings at 9 o'clock and has 31% available deck space.
Thanks for starting your day with us. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
After dozens of months of talk about the possibility of transforming, which is the functioning old Cowichan Hospital site into a treatment center, the Health Ministry has written back saying Island Health has assessed the facility and says it's at the end of its functional life. North Cowichan Mayor Rob Douglas is on the line to discuss. Good morning, Mayor Rob.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for having me on the show.
Well, thanks. Welcome back. Maybe walk us through what's happened with this issue and where you're at now.
Yeah, glad to. So here in the Cowichan region, we're facing a crisis in terms of problems with homelessness, street disorder, untreated mental illness, and addictions. And so we've, as a region, come up with some ideas on how we might address this. One suggestion is that we repurpose our existing Cowichan District Hospital as a facility for people with severe mental illnesses and addictions, recognizing that the building's going to be, the facility's going to be vacated around this time next year once we open the new Coetson Valley Hospital. And so North Cowichan's teamed up with the other local governments in the region, so that's Duncan, Lake Cowichan, Ladysmith, and the Cowichan Valley Regional District, and we wrote a joint letter to the Health Minister in December of last year, bringing forward this proposal and asking the province and Island Health to work with us on exploring it further. We just recently heard back, and as you noted, the Health Minister has determined that the facility has reached the end of its functional life and that they don't consider repurposing it for these uses a viable option.
Were you surprised by that response?
Yeah, definitely surprised and disappointed. I mean, it's an aging facility. I just recently had a tour of it in April with the leadership from Island Health, and it's certainly deteriorated over the years. There's a lot of deferred maintenance, but the reality is it's a fully functioning regional hospital that's serving thousands of patients every year, and one would think that with some upgrades we could extend its useful life a bit further.
Yeah. Did you see anything glaring that it couldn't be refunctioned? Because it your proposal makes tons of sense on the surface, for sure. Is there some underlying thing that maybe we haven't heard about yet?
Yeah, that's. I mean, if the province isn't willing to further consider repurposing the facility, we'd expect that information, those details, to be shared with us. However, the response letter that we received didn't include that type of information.
Is there any other sites that you could propose? I can understand why the Duncan region in particular would want this, with some of the stories we've seen come out in a more central location, and the province has basically promised we're going to put one on Vancouver Island somewhere.
Yeah, there's likely quite a few other locations where we could have a facility like this. The challenge, though, is new construction costs have become so high in recent years, and we know the province is facing its own fiscal constraints. We're in a similar position here in North Cowichan as we just lost our pulp mill, which is our biggest single taxpayer. And so just recently I went to Vancouver to meet with Premier David Eby to discuss these issues we're facing in our region with homelessness, street disorder, untreated mental illness, and addictions. And that was actually one point that the Premier made, was they're finding these new projects can be so expensive in terms of the construction costs, and they're increasingly looking at how they can repurpose existing facilities. Here we have an existing public asset that what one would think could serve our community a bit longer after the building becomes vacated with the new Quetzal Valley Hospital.
What is the demand like in your region for these kind of services that, the province has put emphasis on? Last week, there was an announcement up in Prince George about a detention center being turned into one.
Yeah, the Premier had announced those initial concepts last fall at the Union of BC Municipalities Convention. So there's the one in Prince George he'd announced, and also another one in Surrey. And hearing that news, a lot of communities like ours were hopeful to get something like that could address our local needs. I mean, the reality is, years ago, you would have had a facility like Riverview and Coquitlam that at its peak had more than 4,000 people there. That was shut down in 2012 as part of this broader push to deinstitutionalization. And, the reality is there's a lot of folks who are struggling with these severe mental illnesses who aren't getting the supports that they need. That's not to say that, everyone who's unhoused at this time is struggling with mental illness. There's a lot of folks who just need stable, affordable housing, and once you get them in that position, they can take care of the rest. But there is a certain segment of the population struggling with homelessness who again do have these severe mental illnesses, addictions, or a combination of the two. Or in other cases, you've got people who are struggling with brain injuries as well, who require extensive supports.
So what do you and the other municipalities around you hope happens now?
Yeah, so we just recently received the response letter. Our council here at North Cowichan hasn't had a chance yet to discuss it as a group. Today, actually, we're having our first regular council meeting since getting the letter, and we're going to discuss next steps. What I'd like to do is write back to the health minister and request that we sit down for a face-to-face meeting, discuss it further, and I expect North Cowichan Council is going to be fully behind me on that.
Well, thanks for joining us again today, and we'll keep our eye on this story as well, because the province is pretty committed to doing something here on the island, and I think all of us agree that this kind of center is needed on the island just for the challenges of transportation alone and what we see in our day-to-day existence. So thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Mayor Rob Douglas.
From CFAX 1070.
Here's what's happening around the island.
Victoria Symphony presents Symphony in the Summer Festival, July 10th through August 9th. Details at victoriasymphony.ca. Catch all the excitement of summer baseball with the Victoria Harbour Cats. More info at harbourcats.com. Have an event you want featured on CFAX 1070? Text us at 71010 to be featured.
Get more event info at CFAX1070.com.
If it's happening, it's here.
CFAX 1070.
CFAX Victoria.
An iHeart radio station. If it's happening,
It's here.
CFAX 1070.
It's exactly 8:30 here on Wednesday, July 15th. Steve in for Ryan. Sunny, 25 today. Time for CFAX 1070 News. Here's Lisa Best.
Just keeping you abreast of that BC Hydro outage in James Bay that's affecting 994 homes and businesses. Power went out at 7:01 this morning due to wires down. Crews are assigned, not on site as of we know of yet. So we'll let you know as soon as we get an update on this, when the power is going to be back in James Bay. But it's a cereal breakfast for the moment. On the mainland, BC Highway Patrol say they stopped a woman, 22-year-old from Vancouver, on a motorcycle, which has now been curbed. She was doing 177 in an 80 zone on her motorcycle on Highway 99. This happened last weekend. They caught her Saturday morning near Furry Creek. And the rider only had a Class 7, which is a passenger vehicle learner, and a Class 8 motorcycle learner license. So on top of the motorcycle being impounded, she now faces some pretty steep fines, and best of luck getting your ICBC approval. The Canadian Real Estate Association has reversed its forecast for home sales this year. It now says it anticipates less activity overall compared with last year, after previously projecting an increase. The association's senior economist, Sean Cathcart, says there are encouraging signs emerging as he expects first-time buyers in particular to be keen to move off the sidelines in the back half of the year now that interest rates have stabilized.
It's a moving target. But it would seem to me that, and certainly a pattern in the last few years has been a tough start to the year and a stronger finish. That's what we're forecasting.
In June, national home sales edged up almost 1% compared with the same month last year, while activity also ticked half a percentage point higher from May. You might want to keep a watch on gas prices. I know it sounds like a broken record, but apparently they may climb again. And what analysts believe it could be days or even weeks of sustained increases at the pumps. Here's Canadian for Affordable Energy President Dan McTay.
The world is quickly running out of oil, available oil to meet demand. So it's pretty clear to me that you can only ignore economic fundamentals for so long. And the complacency by Wall Street may be one thing, but the reality is about to hit everybody pretty darn hard.
The price for a litre of regular gas at pumps locally hovering around $1.89.9 a litre, diesel anywhere from $2.10 to $2.37. It remains unclear how high gas prices could climb as the fighting between the U.S. and Iran escalates again in the Strait of Hormuz. On that note, the war is intensifying. This morning, the U.S. completing another round of strikes on Iran targeting coastal defense systems.
This fight is now focused on a battle for the Strait of Hormuz, which ships were able to pass through freely before the war started. Iran has been firing on cargo ships and American allies. The U.S. overnight launching a 7-hour wave of strikes aimed at degrading Iran's ability to threaten commercial shipping. And the president says these attacks will escalate in the coming days.
We'll keep you posted as to what comes next. The National Chief of the Assembly of First Nations says that planned meeting this fall between First Ministers and chiefs across the countries didn't come easy. It can't be a one and done. Cindy Woodhouse-Nepanak says the meeting with the Prime Minister and the Premiers will be a big test of Canada's ability to reconcile economic growth with First Nations rights.
It's going to be a real test with this government on how they want to work with us, and as well as with the provincial governments across the country. If they're serious about making a better Canada, that means including First Nations. We're going to put the invitation as well for the day before.
Often, the leaders of national Indigenous organizations, including the AFN, were invited to participate in a side meeting before or after the Prime Minister and Premiers met themselves. But a larger gathering involving the chiefs of individual First Nations has not happened. A big development in the debate over changing clocks twice a year stateside. House lawmakers passing a bill to keep daylight saving time year-round.
Congress made daylight saving time permanent during the 1970s energy crisis, but reversed course after parents revolted over children walking to school in pitch-dark winter mornings. In Florida alone, 8 kids were killed in traffic accidents. Permanent daylight saving time would mean the sun wouldn't rise until 8:52 a.m. in Seattle in mid-January and 9:04 a.m. in Indianapolis. But this new bill would allow states to opt out and make their own decisions.
The British government keeping an eye on time, not a time that teenagers spend on social media. They've announced plans for 16 and 17-year-olds to face voluntary overnight social media curfews. It said that feature can keep users scrolling for longer and also be switched off by default by older teens. Critics question the effectiveness of the measures, given that teens are able to switch off the default settings. The planned restrictions come a month after the government unveiled a social media ban for those under the age of 16 years old in that country. That's your news to 8:35. Here's CFAX 1070 news poll question this morning. Have you ever used a buy now, pay later short-term financing service to cover your essentials like groceries? 2% say yes on our website. That number jumps to 5% on Twitter X. You can vote at CFAX1070.com, social media, also the iHeartRadio app. I'm Lisa Best. Your news time is 8:37.
Lisa, the public has identified what the real problem is with all these traffic accidents this morning.
What is it?
Quote, Ryan, all last week, there's no traffic, not a single car on the roads. Drive to work with your eyes closed if you feel like it.
Jinxed us.
Steve, this week, main route, backed up. Your backup route, backed up. Your backup route, literally on fire. There's an accident in your driveway.
Oh.
You're already late for work tomorrow. Coincidence? I think not. Yes, I take full responsibility.
We blame Steve.
For chaos.
It'll be a new segment, Blame Steve. Chaos. It's chaos in the streets. Well, it's a bit of gridlock anyway.
Yes.
It's usually a fender bender, but if you're stuck in traffic and the vehicles involved can't move off to the side, well, then it causes more gridlock.
And by the way, our intrepid reporter, Kate Hutchinson, has let us know that it's a semi and a car in that accident.
That sounds more serious.
Yes. So, and it's right in the intersection. So that's what's backing things up.
Okay.
Thank you, Kate. And yes, weather forecast. Let's talk thunderstorms.
Okay.
Sunny today, becoming a mix of sun and cloud this afternoon. It's a nice day, high near 25. Partly cloudy tonight, becoming cloudy before morning. 40% chance of showers. Risk of a thunderstorm at a low near 14. Mainly cloudy tomorrow, 40% chance of showers. Risk of a thunderstorm in the morning with a high near 20. Right now in downtown Victoria, 15 degrees. Here's your World Cup update.
This is your TSN Radio FIFA World Cup 2026 update.
I'm John Rodenberg. Spain will play for the World Cup title after upending favored France 2-0 in the first semifinal. Spain scored first when Mikel Oyarzabal scored on a penalty kick in the 22nd minute, and then in the 58th minute,
Porro, Olmo, Pedro Porro! It's happening for Spain!
Pedro Porro scored a give-and-go goal to give Spain the lead they would not relinquish. French star Kylian Mbappe was held without a shot on goal as Spain had its sixth clean sheet in 7 matches. Today, England and Argentina will decide the other finalists at 3 p.m. Eastern. Argentina seeking a second straight trip to the final, while England tries to keep its dream alive of its first title in 60 years. You can watch the FIFA World Cup matches on TSN, CTV, Crave, and streaming at tsn.ca. Listen on the TSN radio network with all games streaming on the iHeartRadio app.
NHL schedule was released this morning. The season starts September 29th. There's 2 games, and the Canucks will be one of them. They'll be on the road in Edmonton. West Coast League All-Star game goes tonight. That's a 6:35 start at Royal Athletic Park. Tickets still available. Need a cab? Download the new Bluebird Cabs app at Bluebird Cabs Ltd. Bluebird Cabs, proudly local and Canadian owned and run since 1946. We still have those traffic issues in and around, actually starting to improve a little bit. We're down to one accident again, and that one's right at the corner in front of Uptown. Traffic has lightened up considerably in the last half hour. It's still slow on the Trans-Canada. A lot of people diverted to Island Highway. So if you're headed through Ville Royal, it's busy until Helmken and then picks up again right after you make that left-hand turn for everybody trying to get around problems on the highway. And Craigflower's a little slower than usual as you make your way to Skinner and then Tyee into the downtown. So a lot of people have been taking alternate routes to get around it. Things are starting to improve. Texter at 71010 with additional information they're passing along to us, and we always appreciate you. Single-on traffic westbound on Cordova Bay Road, just past Blenkinsop for a gas line install. It's a one-day job. If you see something out there, text us 71010. On the markets, first of all, the Bank of Canada is holding its key rate steady at 2.25% today. CFAX up 46 points at 35,367. The Dow Jones up 163 at 52,671. The Nasdaq up 55 at 26,162. And the Canadian dollar up 4 basis points at 71.2 cents U.S.
In the kitchen, in the car, and at the office. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070. Take us with you. Listen live on the free iHeartRadio app.
BC Hydro's updated the status on that outage. They did that at 8:37. They say a crew is on their way. There's a wire down affecting almost 1,000 customers in James Bay, and it's a big square area northeast of Dallas Road, west of Circle Drive, and south of Simcoe Street. So crews on their way is the last report, and that was at about 6 minutes ago.
That's not a normal place to have an outage. Historically, Fairfield, James Bay don't usually get that, but wire down could be, I don't know, anything.
Wind, could be a lot of things, like you said.
Yeah, it could be an animal as well.
What was it last week that the bird dropped the bunny on the wire?
Wildlife.
And this is out in the Sydney Central Saanich area. Yeah. So they diverted things because they had one thing going on, and then this happened. So 8,000 people went out because the bunny got dropped by the bird.
I gotta say it. How's the guy gonna barbecue? Sorry, it was just there.
Yeah, sometimes the puck's in front of the net. You got to put it up in the top corner.
I don't mean to make light of it, but birds like barbecue too. Sorry. Kind of.
There is a lot of red on the traffic map right now for 8:44.
Okay.
I understand the listeners' concerns that it may be related to me and take full responsibility for it.
He's going to blame somebody. Steve's going to take the hit.
Yeah, take the hit.
That's fair.
Yeah, I don't want you taking the hit for sure because you had nothing to do with it.
I'm just sitting here, so the bystander always gets bullet. I do have big thanks to go out.
Thanks.
Because we put the call out for Kids Count.
Okay.
Our Mega Summer 50-50 draw, which we won't make until August 28th. So you got time to enter. But it's now over $5,000.
Nice.
$5,060 is where we're at. So you can order tickets online. You'll find the link right at the top of our CFAX page, also at CFAX and Anonymous. This money puts good food on the table for kids through a number of programs because, when they're out of school, parents don't have the money, kids are sitting at home. Based on that, they also send them to camp, whether it's riding lessons, it's also sending them to camp. So there's a plethora of different things that this organization helps with local kids, local families, and even helps with local food banks as well. Sally Ann even reached out to us for help. So it's tough out there right now, and I'm not telling you anything you don't know. When you go to the grocery store, some people bypass the produce section because it's just too pricey. So we put fresh fruit and vegetables, eggs, bread on the table for these kids, and that's where that $5,060 is going right now. And half it's going to go into your pocket if you buy a ticket. Kind of cool.
You can't win unless you buy a ticket.
Never heard that before.
Insight
That's
that you
new.
don't get anywhere else right here on CFAX 1070.
Pearls of wisdom.
Speaking of pearls, here's Lisa with your news headlines.
The U.S. Military Central Command says it has launched airstrikes on Greater Tund Island in the Strait of Hormuz, targeting Iranian defense and missile sites. The island is viewed as a strategic point in that strait. Days of back and forth strikes by the U.S. and Iran in the Middle East, shredding the interim deal, the peace deal that was very tentative to begin with, to end the conflict. The region could be tipping back into a full-scale war now. Iran's parliamentary spokesperson says that they won't be backing down on this anytime soon. A Simon Fraser University survey of 1,000 BCers are growing increasingly wary of artificial intelligence. The companies behind the technology, 86% say they worry that AI is going to make people feel more disconnected in society. 65% say the potential risks outweigh the potential benefits. We're going to have more on this expert coming up in a few minutes, talking about the results of this survey and why we should be paying attention and girding our loins. And following that tourist tossing incident last week in Yellowstone National Park, officials say the bison that tossed the 65-year-old grandfather 8 feet in the air will not be euthanized. Carl Issam McDaniel was visiting the Bay Bridge campground near Yellowstone Lake in Wyoming with his 13-year-old grandson when the incident occurred last week. However, officials with TMZ say no management action will be taken against the bison, massive bison. McDaniel's still in hospital. He suffered a broken femur, underwent surgery after the attack, but apparently he told CNN that he's already up and standing, so this is good news. It's also good news that they're not blaming the bison. It's a wild animal. Let it go. That's your news to 8:47.
This summer, 3 of Vancouver Island's biggest voices are coming together to make a real difference.
Get your tickets now for the Kids Count Mega Summer 50-50.
Brought to you by 107.3 Virgin Radio, CFAX 1070, and CTV.
In support of CFAX Santa's Anonymous all-new Kids Count program, supporting children beyond Christmas.
The Mega Summer 50-50.
Your chance to win big while giving back.
Buy your tickets today at CFAX1070.com.
Gaming event license 174660. It's been an adventure of a commute today. And of course, today, just like every CFAX morning, is brought to you by Thrifty Foods. Fresh Okanagan cherries are now in season at Thrifty Foods. Big, juicy, packed with sweet summer flavor. Pick up some today. So things have improved dramatically. It looks like they've pretty much got that accident out of the way. It's a little slow around Uptown, but it certainly isn't backed up the way it was all the way to Tillicum anymore. So that's good news. It's a little thicker than usual in the area. As you get by
Midtown, and that area, it's a little slow both on Blanchard and on Douglas, and also Gorge is a little slow at this point, but not too bad. A lot of people taking the Island Highway, trying to get around traffic problems on the Trans-Canada Victoria bound. That's got Island Highway backed up. It gets better after you get by Helmken, and Victoria bound Trans-Canada backed up from Thetis to the Curve and through the construction zone. After that, improves dramatically.
Ryan and Lisa. Mornings on CFAX 1070. Remember, you have us in the palm of your hand. For listeners on the go, listen live on the free iHeartRadio app.
As technology issues are becoming increasingly important, political wedges and industries are eyeing the economic possibilities, public opinion, and all those at the same time. A new Simon Fraser University study suggests British Columbians are becoming increasingly wary and distrustful of the technology. Simon Fraser's Dialogue and Technology Project Director, Fergus Linley-Mata, is joining us now. Good morning, Fergus.
Morning. Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for being here. Before you get into the data, do you think the Tumbler Ridge incident in particular has galvanized British Columbians around the distrust of AI?
Absolutely. I should say that this study was conducted before Tumbler Ridge took place, so we've seen the effects of that tragedy affect the public and the policy discourses ever since. Right. So it's very difficult now to have a conversation around governing or regulating chatbots, or a conversation around how U.S. tech companies are playing a role in Canada without understanding now the very real and the very dangerous and very felt consequences of these technologies and what it means to get regulations wrong.
So maybe provide us some context on how you collected this data and what we should know about it.
Sure. So for some context, as you mentioned, I run the Dialogue on Technology project at FSU, and we're dedicated to increasing the range of voices at the decision-making table around AI, right? So power is less concentrated in a small group of companies and countries so that we can maybe better govern this technology. So we conducted public opinion research to understand how British Columbians are thinking about AI, not just whether they use it, but what they trust, what worries them, where they see benefits, and what kind of regulation or public information they might be looking for. So we ran this in both 2024 and earlier this year. And in both cases, we surveyed over 1,000 British Columbians on the issue. And the top line is kind of this. In 2026, British Columbians are more aware of AI than they were before, more likely to have used it, and significantly more concerned than they were in 2024. Residents of BC are paying attention. Many are using these tools, but as awareness grows, their confidence is declining and the desire for guardrails is actually growing.
Who's feeling optimistic about it right now?
There's not a huge amount of optimism.
Wow.
I should say, I mean, that there are some positive, over half of respondents continued to believe from 24 to 26 that AI has a positive impact on the amount of time it might take to get things done. There are efficiency interests. There are also interests in, really just a fascination by the technology itself. Almost 60% agreed that they were fascinated by the idea that machines can learn, think, and what potential that might have. But, and I should say also that there are age and gender divides a little bit. But they're not divides between optimism on one side and pessimism on the other. They're actually differences in the degree of concern. So older British Columbians and women generally express more uneasiness, while younger people and men generally are somewhat more open. But concern is now the majority position across the board, right? And the striking change actually is among groups that used to be more positive. So concern among 18 to 24-year-olds jumped significantly between 2024 and 2026, which suggests that something isn't quite right here.
Do you think this has something to do? You mentioned women in particular, and we've seen what the internet does to pictures of women. Do you think that's why the numbers are coming the way they are?
I can't say for sure, right? All we do is assess where people are at and their responses. And I could also say, because of the sample size, it's difficult to go too deeply into specific population groups and generalize too much from there. But I will say that, both from this work and the other work that we do at DOTS, AI is an incredibly politicized technology right now, right? There are these high-profile cases. You already mentioned Tumbler Ridge. There are other similar kind of tragic cases where AI-enabled technologies like chatbots have led to the deaths of young people. You just mentioned sexualized images. People are very aware now of the risks that deepfakes pose, and particularly to women on the internet, right? So I think that the high profile of some of these cases, and I'd add to that, some of the U.S. oligarchs that we see and their public profiles, really do contribute to a kind of negative popular image of this technology.
I know a lot of people that love it and have glommed onto it very well. My, and I hope I'm wrong about this, the 2020 hindsight that's sort of developed is, why aren't we listening to our gut? Is it capitalism that stops us listening to our gut because we want to keep up with the Joneses because everybody else is adopting it?
Do you mean listening to our gut in terms of not using it, or in terms of using it for
giving it the side eye?
Not liking it.
Well, because I know it can benefit our lives in so many ways, but the other side of it, the dark side of it, when you mention women, I'll get on board with that. The things that have already gone sideways with the technology and the potential for it to, we have other experts warning of it. And it's not that I don't want to move forward with technology, but are we doing this at a breakneck pace to keep up with everybody else? And are we going to regret it?
Yeah, so it's a really important question. I think you're right in pointing out that there are a couple of different dynamics that are really speeding this up in a way that maybe people in general aren't comfortable with, and that maybe we aren't comfortable with on this call, right? These include, profit dynamics, right? There's a sense that companies are in a race to try to develop and commercialize these technologies, even when sometimes they don't work all that well. And there's a similar race happening geopolitically where, countries think that if they just get ahead in the so-called AI race, they'll be able to reap all these benefits. But that's actually really out of step with where public opinion is, right? We see from our research that people don't want to just know more about the technology. They don't want to just adopt the technology more. They want to be shown that the technology can be used safely, right? So ironically, those same dynamics that are pushing, for example, the government of Canada to try to really rush to adopt and really push it in all areas of the economy, those dynamics actually need better governance. They actually need that kind of sober second thought so that people can trust the technology to be a little bit safer and then maybe pick it up.
Wow. I wish we had more time for you because your knowledge is outstanding, and I think we can all learn something about it, especially, you mentioned the demographics and folks my age, and we embrace some of it. I don't think we embrace all of it at this point. But thanks for joining us. I'm fascinated. Have a great day, Fergus. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much. Thanks to both of you. Bye-bye.
Fergus Lindley-Mata with the Simon Fraser University. That's doing it for us today. Have a great day. The traffic seems to be getting better. Sorry about that. I'll try to do better tomorrow.